more stuff you're going to speak about later that you've jotted down. Considering all of that, why in God's name would Israel give Palestine a state or allow Palestine into its state and give Palestinians equal rights? Why in God's name will Israel do that?
You are coming from the Nelson. You are coming from the presumption that Israel is allowed to give this verdict and this judgment on the indigenous peoples. It is initially on the indigenous peoples who are being occupied of their own decision whether they should have human rights or not. Now, the reason there's this hatred towards Israel and Zionism is not because they're Jews, even though they try to paint themselves as the victims and they always talk about the Holocaust and this and that. Meanwhile, it was never the Arabs that discriminated against the Jews. It was always the Europeans since the 11th century. Okay, it's on the indigenous peoples to have their rights, and Israel has no legitimacy based on every UN convention, all the Geneva conventions. So
let me ask you a question real quick, because let's keep it a back and forth, free flowing conversation, right? No monologues on your end or my end, right? Let's just keep it straight on the point. So, how is Palestine going to establish its state within Israeli territory without the say so of the Israelis? Make that make sense to me.
Okay, so here's what's going to happen, right? Here's what's going to happen. Everybody has same rights, okay? Everybody has equal rights, including Israeli Jews, including Palestinians, including Christians. Now, that also means granting right of passage to the 10 to 17 million refugees in diaspora within around the world who were originally ethnically cleansed from the first Nakba, okay? So we have a free state where everybody has citizenship, everybody has voting rights. There is no apartheid regime. There is no white Jewish supremacy instated.
My question not what he's asking.
No, I gotta restate my question.
Go ahead.
Question, how is that going to happen within Israeli territory? How is that going to happen?
The only way that'll happen realistically is if there's some sort of big military intervention on the Palestinian side. Where they are able to there's a balanced military, there's a balanced warfare on both sides. Because when you have one side who is so disproportionately advanced and advantaged, it's very, very hard to have a system where both sides are equally represented. Because you have one.
Ask you a follow-up, right? Let me ask you a follow-up, because I'm just trying to make sure we just hit the points. Okay, so you say the only way to do so is basically by Palestinians getting a strong enough army and taking Israel. Is that correct? Just to summarize, because I don't want not the long stuff.
Yes, unless America completely changes its tune and stops supporting Israel financially, then yes.
Okay, now, in what reality do you see that happening in our lifetime?
I mean, there's very high possibilities. Iran gets involved, Hezbollah gets involved, and I mean, America is fed up. Like the American population, 70% want a ceasefire. The majority of people want to stop funding this ridiculous war, this proxy war that has nothing to do with them.
Okay. Sharif, how old are you, brother? If you don't mind me asking.
It shouldn't matter, but I'm 33.
33. Okay, I'm 27. Right. So we're probably in the same, what do you call it? Millennials, whatever. We're probably in that same category. Right. Now, again, I just want you to break it down for me. Like, walk me through it in under 60 seconds. And everybody else in here, by the way. Right. You got 965 people on Twitter. You got close to, let me even see how many we got on Clubhouse. Let me just make sure so I don't give you false numbers. We got 337 on Clubhouse. Right. So you got a good 1250, 1300, something like that. Now, my question to you in front of everybody in here, right? We're both millennials. We probably both have a good 70 plus years left on this earth. Tell me how that will happen within the 70 years that we both remain on this earth. How will Palestine get a large enough army to defeat the Israelis, especially with America's backing of Israel? Walk me through that process real quick. Within the next 70 years, how does that happen?
How does that happen? I mean, there's so many possible solutions. One is that Hezbollah elevate, like
Nelson.
let me finish. One is that Hezbollah escalates and decides to directly invade Israel, because right now they're only fighting on the border and they're only defending their own land from these bombings. Another possible solution is America gets fed up, and Americans get fed up, and a lot of them are, and they stop funding Israel. Now, if you're saying that doesn't happen and the U.S. continues to fund Israel, then we're facing something very different, to where I don't know how it's going to end. I mean, if Israel continues in its route, and if they're continuing to be funded, then we might actually be looking at the complete ethnic cleansing and genocide of the Palestinians, which I really, really hope doesn't happen.
Could I jump in, Nelson?
No, wait, one second. I'm trying to have a back and forth both sides, right? I don't want us to lean one way or the other. So let's get one speaker on the Palestinian end.
May I respond to Sharif, please?
1 second,
Hold
man.
on, Nelson, can I reply to what he was saying, please?
Guys, like I'm getting somewhere. Like I don't want to nitpick it, go with punches, and let's focus. Let's stay on point, right? Now, Sharif, real quick, right? I'm gonna pass my time to M, because I want M to do this real quick with you, right? I want him to break it down for you.
Wait, Nelson, though, really quickly though, I mean, what if Russia gets involved directly? Like, what if they end their war with Ukraine and they recoup, and then they eventually end up funding or aiding Palestine in the same way America's aiding Israel?
America will fuck you all up.
Everybody mute out real quick. Wait, just mute out.
Can I respond to him?
Ma'am, respectfully, I'm talking. Like, when I say mute out, please, I mean, come on, that's not the time to jump in and want to speak. Like, goddamn. Okay. So here's the deal. Russia have already showed the world that they are not a superior military power, period. They've already showed the world this.
I mean,
the embarrassment in Ukraine, right?
No, you can argue it both ways. I mean, there's certain people who say they're crushing Ukraine right now.
Second, my brother. I mean, dude, listen. If the U.S. went to war with Mexico, how many days do you think it'll take for that to be over? Right?
It wouldn't be as simple as you think. I remember Vietnam.
Wait,
right? Remember Vietnam.
That was back in the day before you saw B-21 bombers.
That was back in the day where they were still a major superpower. They lost the ground infantry war, didn't they?
The Taliban beat the U.S. Nelson.
Meet your mic, bro. Meet your mic. So you gotta qualify this stuff, right? You got to be able to qualify it,
right? But we're qualifying, like, you can kill millions of people. They killed 3.5 million Vietnamese people, but they still lost the war because they couldn't beat them on the.
Buddy, out of respect, I'll let you speak, right? Now I'm trying to speak, and you want to interrupt me every 5 seconds. That's not. I mean, come on, let's respect each other, right?
Cool.
So we got to be able to qualify this stuff in regards to where we were at back then militarily and where we are today. We have to be able to qualify the technological advancements with the kind of weapons we had back then and the kind of weapons we have right now. The ones that we do know about, by the way, because there's a bunch of shit we got that we don't talk about. America is not like Russia when they develop a new weapon, or like Iran and they do parades and press releases, right? America doesn't operate that way. And we all know that. We can all say that here with our chest, that is a fact, right? So again, Russia have already shown themselves to be quite weak when it comes to military warfare, 21st century military warfare, by the way, with what's going on in Ukraine. It's been over, 2+ years now since that started?
1.9 years.
1.9, yeah, 2 years, right? That's a long fucking time for big, mighty Russia to not be able to take Ukraine. These guys haven't even gotten to fucking Kiev, right? So that's that on a Russia end. Now, from a money perspective, Russia ain't got no money, bro. Those motherfuckers ain't got no money. Their economy is literally smashed.
They're the third biggest exporter of natural gas.
No. Let's keep it real quick, right? Russia's economy ain't doing the dance it was doing 3 years ago. And now you look at the Chinese economy, because you just might bring up China.
Wait, but you're talking about the Russian economy. Look at the American economy. $32 trillion in debt.
My brother, the American economy is the strongest economy on the planet.
$32 trillion in debt. What are you talking about?
That's not how it works, though, right?
That is how it works.
Hey, my brother, listen. Like, dude, I literally have economic master majors, dude that's worked in the fucking financial markets for 30 years as my employee in the office, right? Like, dude, we talk economics, right? We do spaces with some of the biggest.
But you have a master's in economy?
Not me, my employees, by the way.
Oh, okay.
I dropped out of school, unfortunately. Says a lot, by the way, about fucking degrees these days. Shout out to fucking no degrees. Anyways, so the point that I'm trying to make here is, bro, like, you don't know enough about that situation when it comes.
No, I surely do, though. I surely do.
I promise you, if we have a debate on this, you'll be crushed.
I mean, right? I know enough about the American economy to understand what you're saying about Russia is.
Calm down, bro. We agreed that we'll respect each other and let each other speak. Calm down. You don't need to cut me off all the time. Just calm down. Okay, relax. Woosah. Breathe in, breathe out. It ain't that deep, my brother. It's just spaces. Okay. So, anyways, again, America's economy, please do not compare to Russia. Chinese economy, literally cratering right now. Wait.
But tell me, hold on now. Tell me how many trillions dollars? How much debt does Russia have?
My brother, let me finish, man. Respectfully.
Answer my question. How many trillion dollars of debt is Russia in? Tell me how much debt Russia has. Please tell me.
That's not how it works, bro. Okay.
But it is. What are you talking about? That's how economics work.
My brother, it's not how it works. Okay. America being in debt ain't the same as you defaulting on your mortgage payments, brother. It don't work like that. Okay. Respectfully.
Especially if you default on your mortgage, you lose your house. So it doesn't work like that.
When America is reaching its debt limit, it increases it. Big difference. Somebody who has a house ain't doing that with their mortgage. It doesn't work like that. Okay. So just to get back to the main point, right? Because your what if scenario is, what if Russia backs Palestine? What if China backs Palestine? China ain't doing a goddamn thing. President Xi was just in San Francisco, fucking begging our asses.
I personally don't think China will ever do anything. You're right.
Exactly. Right. So like who else is going to support Palestine? Is it Iran? Iran's been threatening Israel since day one. Do not enter Gaza. Still not doing a goddamn thing. Right. Do you know why? Do you know why they're not doing a goddamn thing? Because the U.S. have said anybody that gets involved is going to get lit the fuck up. That's why they're not getting involved. They fear America. As long as America continues to support Israel, there would never be a Palestinian army. No country is going to support Palestine because they fear America, right? And I just want you to
break no country. I mean, there's only like six countries Israel directly.
One second, my brother. Could you break down the military relation? Well, just the allyship of Israel and U.S. and why both parties are so important to one another.
But Nelson, you talking about America supporting Israel?
Wait. I'm trying to get some education here, not just for you, but for me too, right? For everybody else, right? Let's understand why the relationship between America and Israel is so strong to where the likelihood of that falling apart is close to zero. So I just want to go to M because he understands this stuff better than me and most people here. M, could you break that down for us? Why, like, what's the deal with this allyship between Israel and America? Could you break it down for us?
Sure. I'm actually quite happy that after weeks of dancing, the ugly face is finally rearing itself. So, first of all, the focus on the whole demographics bomb narrative. That's not going to happen. Secondly, the overlap of disinformation campaigns between what's happening in Ukraine, for instance, and what's happening in the Middle East, and this pipe dream that armies are going to come to aid the Palestinians and liberate Palestine and destroy Israel. So it is the end game. Either we win over them by demographics or we destroy them. So you actually proved my point that I have been trying to make for the last weeks, and everyone has been dancing around it, that this is the end game that everyone is hoping for. Either we control Israel by power of demographics and voting them out, voting the Jews out, or we will rely on the armies and the bricks and the gold and the debt and the bankers and
why are you saying we? You're a Zionist. What are you talking about we?
I'm not speaking to you, Sharif. So this is a pipe dream, right? This is the overlap of disinformation campaigns that have been running for the last 15 years come full circle. As for the alliance between the United States and the State of Israel, first of all, that alliance is built on shared ideals and shared principles.
It's built on a lobbying group called APAC. Secondly, that's the simple truth of it.
Sharif, and I'll toss it to you.
Secondly, the value of a population and the value of a country is measured by its human capital, not by the amount of debt it is in. The way Russian troops, for instance, have been conducting themselves unprofessionally in Ukraine, beating each other up and killing each other before they actually kill Ukrainians and commit genocide and commit documented war crimes, is a testament to the deterioration of the Russian society. compare that to the innovation coming out of the United States and the innovation coming out of Israel in many sectors, not just defense or intelligence or technology or telecom or healthcare or what have you. That's the root of the alliance. Shared principles and ideals and the value of the human capital and what that human capital is contributing to the progress of the human species. As for the military alliance, well, they do have a military alliance, and the United States comes to aid Israel because Israel's security equation is built on three main pillars: deterrence, early detection, and winning wars decisively in a short period of time. And when all three pillars fail, they call upon the fourth pillar, which is the United States, and that's a fact of life. We can agree with it, disagree with it, but we have to accept it because that's reality. When you're a responsible leader for your country and for your people, you realize when the fourth pillar is called upon. And that's exactly what Hezbollah and Iran did. They realized and they revisited their calculus that they cannot extend help to Hamas or extend help to the Palestinians or go for a full-out war when the Ford was deployed to the East Mediterranean, thus deterring Hezbollah. And now the Eisenhower has just walked right into the Persian Gulf. So humor me this, Sharif. Who do you think has more power to project right now globally at a moment's notice, sustaining the logistical need for the deployment of such power and continuing to deliver punch after punch after punch after punch, other than the United States of America and the United Kingdom? If you think it's Russia, Russia failed in a simple power projection in the near abroad mission with a country they share land border with.
Sure. So wait, did the US win in Afghanistan? What happened in Afghanistan?
Can we just
I'm not
answer
into history lessons.
Listen. Like, can we just answer the topic, please? All right. Like, when you're talking about
so you want to talk about the U.S. supremacy and the U.S. military superpower? They are not what they. Hold on, please. I want to respond. Please.
One mic, guys. One mic. Come on.
Sharif, you want what happened in Afghanistan?
It was supposed to be between me and them. Let me talk.
One mic, guys. We're not gonna talk over each other like that. Come on. Let's do this back and forth respect.
Okay. So let me say this, right? The fact of the matter is the U.S. military prowess is not what it was 20 years ago. There's a reason they evacuated Afghanistan. There's a reason they're trying to evacuate Iraq now, okay? They are spread thin. They are $32 trillion in debt. Now, all this booga wooga you're talking about, oh, it's based on innovation, technological, militarily. No one gives a crap because they have bills to pay. And we can relate this to a mortgage just like Nelson did. Back on your back payments, you're going to get fucked. So the way the U.S. is setting itself up now by printing money, trillions of dollars every year, they are setting themselves up for an implosion on the highest degree economically.
Sharif, without going on monologues, it's very simple.
One mic.
Sure, Jonathan. It's very simple.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
There's a difference. There's a difference between
one mic, bro. I'm gonna have to. Let's not do that. Okay. Here's the deal, folks. Look, you can't start speaking while he's speaking, okay? And it confuses the audience. We have another audience on another platform. We want you guys to have the debate, but let's make sure that you guys are doing it and letting each other land. All right?
I mean, I let M finish. Now I want to talk. So I jotted everything down, right? And Nelson was talking about how warfare is not the same as it was 50 years ago. Essentially, it is. I mean, essentially, it's still airstrikes. You have airstrikes, you have air bombings, and you have infantry, and you have ground warfare. Okay. Now in Vietnam, they were able to kill 3.5 million people, but they still lost the war because at the end of the day, if you want to occupy a nation or a state or a territory, you still have to infiltrate with your infantry, which is basically at the end of the day tanks and infantry troops. Okay. So the same is going to apply to Palestine. You can bomb it all day long and kill tens of thousands of people. I mean, the most minimal numbers are 20,000 civilians. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to, if they want to occupy Gaza, they'll have to do it with tanks and infantry. And there's many sources, including Israel's own sources, saying they're losing that battle really, really badly right now. Okay. Now you talked about the ugly face is finally rearing itself. No armies will come to aid Palestine. Alliance between U.S. So I mean, you talked about this whole huge alliance between U.S. and Israel. It's based on principles and love for innovation. All this BS. It's BS. Okay. The only reason U.S. supported Israel in the first place was because they were a stronghold on the Middle East, and the U.S. has had a hand in the constant destabilization of the Middle East, which is again as colonialism, neocolonialism ensures to pillage and plunder the natural resources of the places that they occupy and colonize. Now, the only reason Israel is still in power is because AIPAC is one of the biggest lobbying groups in America. They are directly lobbying and paying these senators. And that's why you had 66% of Americans voting for a ceasefire, and you only had 4% of senators voting for a ceasefire. Okay? It's a deadly circle where AIPAC votes for pays these senators to get in. These senators directly pay Israel with $3.8 billion a year, and then some of this money is funneled back to AIPAC. So what's really happening is a deadly structure, and U.S. has created a monster, which is Israel, that they can no longer control. Meanwhile, the American people themselves want to get the fuck out of this war. Even the fucking neo-Nazis are against this war. So this whole bullshit about, oh, it's innovation. It's not. It's about plundering resources. It's about disparaging people, and it's about destabilizing the economies of the Middle East in order to be able to plunder these resources. Spare me with the morality BS and the sanctimonious bullshit. Get the fuck out of here with that crap.
I have a question for you, okay? Because you said something about the U.S. is going to implode. Did you recall saying that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what happens when the U.S. implodes?
You want to know what happens? China becomes the major superpower in the world. That's what happens.
Okay. So basically, so you're saying that the U.S.'s printing money is going to implode. So you're saying that basically when the U.S. implodes, that you don't think the whole fucking world's going to implode. I mean,
no, it won't. The U.S. itself will crumble internally as it has been for the past 20 years. Like I said.
And then what becomes of the U.S.?
They can go fuck themselves. I really don't give a fuck. They've been fucking the world over for so long. The whole world is fed up with the U.S. I don't give a fuck what happens to the U.S., man.
Okay, good stuff. So what happened? So I understand you don't give a fuck, but you just said it's going to implode. So what happened? What becomes of the U.S.?
So here's what happened. The U.S. dollar becomes like completely useless. BRICS right now are forming their own currency. That will become the most prominent currency in the world. And America will crumble from inside. And their empire will just be, it'll be the end of their empire. Simple as that. It's like the end of the Roman Empire. What happened? Their currency crumbled, and there was another superpower that came into effect. That's simple as that.
First and foremost, you're talking about the BRICS. BRICS, what is that? India, China, Russia. So you're saying that,
yeah, and guess who else is going to go join BRICS soon? Iran. Okay.
Okay. Now, so they're going to control the world's currency. Those unstable countries, those communist countries, they're going to be in control of the world's currency, and that's going to sit right with every.
I wouldn't say they're unstable.
It'll sit right with everybody who isn't American, German, French, or British. Yes,
guys, we're digressing from the topic.
Yeah, we really are.
We're digressing a lot from the topic of.
Yeah, we're getting back.
Yeah, I mean, they took me on a curve, but I'm cool with it.
No, you're right. We did digress. I just want, because he said we're going to implode. So the U.S. is going to implode. Just wanted to hear that.
I mean, what happens when every year your debt accumulates by $3 trillion a year? That's $3 trillion a year, and it's going exponentially.
Okay.
Like at some point, the system has to implode.
I'm Team USA. I just happen to be very anti-Israel, anti-Russia, anti-China, anti-IGRC, IRGC. So at the end of the day, it's not about that. Like, I'd rather choose America than China any fucking day of the week. But at the end of the day, the support for Israel is endangering American interests. In 2007, there were two academics who published a book outlining exactly what the Israel lobby does and how it damages US interests. And they mapped it out in detail. I put a video up in the Jumbotron if anyone wants to see it, and I've tweeted my link to it. So what they've done is they've demonstrated to what extent the Israel lobby has influenced not only Congress, but laws throughout the country. Did you know in 37 states in America, you're not allowed to, if you're a contractor for any state, you have to sign a law saying you're not going to get involved in BDS. You're not allowed to boycott Israel. 37 states in America. So the whole democracy is being influenced by the Israel lobby at the moment. It's very dangerous.
Why do you think they did that law, Habiba? Why did they do that law?
Exactly. Go for it, for us.
Well, maybe that would be a good thing to discuss. Is it at all possible?
It probably has something to do with the dwindling support for Israel in the U.S. among the U.S. population, and the huge generational gap that they have in terms of it. And when you say how Israel could end, Nelson, I'm just going to point you to the previous prime minister of Israel's quotes, an article. The state of Israel could disappear, drawing a parallel to what happened in apartheid South Africa, saying that if they don't achieve a two-state solution, The day could come when the two-state solution collapses and we face a South African-style struggle for equal voting rights. Then, as soon as that happens, the state of Israel is finished. He also highlighted how there's dwindling support among Jewish Americans, which are basically what he considered the backbone of support for Israel inside the USA. And that if they reach a stage where the two-state solution is completely, it's been accepted that it's completely unsustainable, undoable, then it's going to lead to the same way South Africa, apartheid in South Africa fell apart, which was
Yeah, and to add to
essentially
that for us,
their allies, their biggest allies, lost all their support in those countries and started pressuring them into non-existence. And
and
now
to
they
add to
had to
that, I put
dismantle it.
up a video at the top.
Habib, respectfully, stop posting stuff up top. I don't allow anybody to do that, right?
Sorry, Nelson.
And make you special. Please don't post stuff up top.
Okay. But basically, it's a video in Netanyahu. He's off camera and he talks about how he's been gaming America. He's been gaming the American system and he's been manipulating American politics. He's off camera and he's saying it in his own words. And I want everyone to watch it. I can retweet it on my feed. Just watch what he says of himself and about how he manipulates Americans and how he manipulates
Nelson,
American
when you
foreign
get a
policy.
chance, can I speak?
Yeah, so let me finish, please. So he's literally manipulating
How's
American
he
policy.
shilling something that he just said don't do?
Sorry, and then 2 days ago, I haven't posted it up, like on the Jumbotron, they deleted it. 2 days ago, or was it yesterday, Netanyahu came out and said again that actually he's the only one competent enough to be able to handle the Americans and game them. He's the only one to be able to deny Palestinians a state, and that's why Israelis should vote for him. So when you're dealing with characters like Netanyahu, he's one in a long line of people who've manipulated American democracy, the American Congress, and the American people, without many people even realizing it. So just take them at their own words.
Tara, talk about it.
Yeah. So, boy, there's been a lot of stupid stuff said on this stage, particularly about the American economy, which we're getting off of. But honestly, our debt is not an issue. Anyone who knows anything about economics knows that we right now have the strongest economy in the world. Do we have issues? Of course. Do other states that are our rivals have more issues? Yes. Russia is failing, can't even get through Ukraine. China's economy is in the toilet, etc. So anybody who thinks America is just going to disappear.
China's economy is in the toilet. They have an 18 trillion
China's
GDP. What are you talking about?
economy has been.
Mute
Could
out,
you
mute out,
please
bro.
stop, sir? Okay, you talked a lot, and a lot of it was nonsense. All right, China's economy is been doing very badly. That's one of the reasons that they were very conciliatory when they were here, because recently they've had a lot of problems. Okay, so anybody who thinks America is going to be superseded in the next 30, 40, 50, in any sort of future that I can envision is really being a little ridiculous and doesn't understand it. Okay. Number two,
The
I want
GDP
to
has 10x in the past
excuse
20
me.
years.
I
You
said
got
I am speaking. Shah. Do you not understand that? Do you have that little discipline? No one spoke. All right. I didn't speak when you were speaking.
But you're
Now,
spewing bullshit and lies.
no,
Like,
I'm
not going
not.
to
Just
lies.
stop. I haven't
Bro,
mentioned you.
I'm going to have to
Stop.
move you down, bro, if you keep doing that. Respectfully, one mic on the speaker.
All right. In terms of APAC and stuff like that, I'm hearing all these people, all of a sudden, the big bully, the big whatever. We have many lobbying groups in the United States. We have tons. In fact, we have pharma, we have big oil. I mean, we have, it goes on and on and on. All right. That is unfortunately a feature of our system. And I don't like it. But frankly, that's the way it works. And people who are elected to office get money from other people and they are influenced by people. But this suggestion that the 37 states where the boycott, divestiture, and where the BDS laws have been passed is somehow the result of all this APAC money flowing into state legislatures is sort of nonsense. APAC is pretty good at the federal level, yes, but they're really not infiltrating South Carolina, Tennessee. They're not giving that sort of money to local legislatures. And those are the laws that are in place, not a federal law, but state laws, which are implemented by state legislatures. By the way, so far, the Supreme Court has not ruled on those laws, but I think it's the Eighth Circuit has said that they are constitutional and they will continue. Why? Because there is a reservoir in the United States, notwithstanding what people have said, of support for Israel, for the possibility of Israel, for the fact that Israel deserves a state. Now, you can point to a recent poll saying, oh, everybody wants a ceasefire, but at the end of the day, most Americans still support America giving money to Israel, giving foreign aid to Israel. They are a strategic partner. They give us intelligence. They are good in technology, etc. And most Americans are still at that place, regardless of what you want to say. I want to say one more thing because I'm really getting tired of this nonsense about white supremacy that I've been hearing on the Israelis and if you came to America, if you were Palestinian, you know what? When you check off the census boxes, you check off Middle East, that's considered white. You know what? When Israelis come to America, they check off the census boxes, Middle East, that's considered white too. You don't get to claim that that whites are basically being supreme over other whites. Now you're claiming somehow, and race we know is a construct, but you are claiming somehow that there's this white supremacy over Palestinians. Palestinians and Jews share many common genetic traits. They stem from the same places, and notwithstanding what people have said on these stages, the Ashkenazi Jews actually share those traits as well. So when you're sitting there talking about, oh, the whites, whatever, that is nonsense. And that's it bothers me. Okay. That's one of the lies that's been promulgated that
But
somehow the
Kira, it's not about
Palestinians,
skin
excuse
color.
me, I am not
Oh
quite
my God.
finished. I am not finished, sir. All right. So that's one of the things that bothers me enormously because people spew this all the time. Oh, these white supremacist Israeli colonizers. No, if you're basically the Palestinians are considered white, the Jews are considered white, or they're both not considered white. Up to you. I don't care, but it's not what you're saying. Thank you.
Okay, so you
Can I
talked
come
about,
back on that, please?
well, let me just, no, hold on. Middle Eastern, you said Middle Eastern considered white. You talked about how I would have to tick that I'm Middle Eastern. Hold on, please. You said I would have to tick that I'm Middle Eastern.
So much
Now, the
nonsense,
fact
though.
that I have to tick that I'm Middle Eastern proves that I'm a different ethnicity. When we talk about white, I'm not talking about skin color. I'm talking about ethnicity. And there's a clear ethnic difference between Middle Easterners who are also white-skinned and white people from Europe and America. That's very clear. And by you saying I would have to tick that I'm Middle Eastern proves that there's a big ethnic difference between
You don't
Middle Eastern
understand the
and
Census
quote
Bureau,
unquote
do
white
you?
people.
You
Sorry,
don't
I'd
understand how
like
the
to quote some
census even
Israeli
works.
Hold on.
founders talking about how they wanted to
Can I
colonize.
say, Nelson, can I please say something? Please, this is important because there's a lot, Tira, that he doesn't understand. Okay, because just a few minutes ago he said that Nelson said that 50 years ago war was a lot different than it is today, and that's actually pretty much the same. I don't know what kind of Disneyland bullshit fairy tale world this guy is living in, but this guy is out of his fucking mind. Okay, so
You tell me what's changed.
Hold on.
Advanced warfare.
Okay. I'll tell you what's changed. I'll give you a couple bullet points of what's changed. Okay, hold on. Precision guided munitions, like basically like guided missiles, spark bombs, cyber warfare, UAVs. Let's talk about asymmetrical warfare, like the rise of, I don't know, non-state actors. Let's talk about, I don't know, the use of proxy wars, basically allowing plausible deniability.
No, I'm talking specifically warfare,
Hold
the
on, I'm
ballistic.
at you. You gotta shut your mic.
The
Let's
ballistics.
talk about the use of information warfare and propaganda, psyop, social media disinformation. You think
Let's
war?
talk about that,
Hold on.
please, Sphinx.
You think war?
I'm
This
so
is
glad
the
you mentioned that.
problem. Can he shut the fuck up?
All right, guys, real quick. Let me grab the mic real quick. Let me grab the mic.
Do you
Sorry,
see?
can I just go back, Nelson?
Wait, no,
Everybody mute
because
up real
this
quick.
guy is full
screaming
of
woman.
shit. He doesn't know anything.
1 second. 1 second. Listen, respectfully, anybody interrupts again when it's not your turn, I'm going to throw you down to the fucking audience. I got like 50 something people on Twitter that want to get on stage. I will happily give them your spot. Matter of fact, guys, if you're requesting right now and you would happily take one of their spots, do a thumbs up emoji on your avatar real quick, just so they can see how many people are fucking waiting. Okay,
Nelson, would it be okay if I respond to her after she's done?
When she's done, I'll toss the mic.
Shireen, I just want to come back on what Tyra said, please.
Respectfully mute out. Sphinx, jump in.
Okay, so the problem is nobody here has read The Art of War, and guess what? You won't, because you're dumbasses. War doesn't start when the fighting starts. Okay, and that's why people like Sharif are gonna keep losing for the next 100 years, because they think war is when combat starts. Okay, I just told you how war is completely different today than it was 50 years ago. To say that war is essentially the same today as it was 50 years ago, you have no idea how war is fought. The whole point is to minimize actual fighting, okay? That's the whole point. You don't get that. The entire nature of war has changed. Our weapons have changed. Our methods have changed. So you're spouting nonsense. And then you're talking about white this versus white that. You know, a lot of people, by the way, come up here and they act like, I don't know, maybe they founded a bank or some bullshit. I would doubt a lot of people's bios, just saying.
Okay, cool. So again, I'm going to reiterate. Okay, the fact that Tira said that you know, there's Middle Easterners are also white. She literally said that I would have to tick myself as a Middle Eastern.
It's not even about that. Can I just correct
Let me,
it?
no, but let me. You can go after me. You can go after me. Go after me. Go after me, please.
No, I get to go after you because you're
okay,
talking
so
to
there's
me.
a difference in ethnicity. That's the main thing I'm talking about. It has nothing to do with skin color. Okay, skin color, like, it's ethnicity. Furthermore, you said I was talking in terms of warfare. I was talking about ballistics and direct warfare. Okay, the weapons haven't changed very much in the past 50 years. Now, when you talk about information and warfare and psyops, yes, I agree. But it's ironic that you mentioned that. I'm glad you did.
What about
because
smart
in terms,
bombs and precision guided missiles?
I let you finish, sweetheart. Let me talk. Okay.
I'm not your
in terms
sweetheart.
of information, I don't care. In terms of information warfare and psyops, it is very clear that Israel is losing this war on a very imbalanced level. Okay. We had what's his name? Grant Cardone, who's been a guest of this space, who is a big Zionist, and he posted a poll asking, is Israel a terrorist state? 16,000 votes came in, and 93% of them said yes. This is a Zionist posting a poll on a Zionist spaces, okay? It is the vast, vast majority of the world that does not believe Israel's propaganda and misinformation anymore, and their psyops is no longer working. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's very clear that on that end they're losing. Thank you.
I would. Can I just respond, Nelson?
What about UAVs?
Please,
What about
Nelson.
UAVs?
Mute out. Tara, let me ask you this question real quick.
Grant Cardone, a big Zionist. I love it. Go on.
how many Muslims are on the planet, Tara?
I have no idea. It's billion.
Somebody give me the answer.
Probably like
1.9 billion. 1.9 billion.
5 billion, something like that.
All right, there we go. Tara, how many Jews are on the planet?
16 million, maybe something like that. Maybe 18 million.
There we go. 16 million versus 1.9 billion. Well, we already know who's going to get the most fucking.
But you're implying people are going to say things based on their religion.
No.
Can I just?
I have to respond to the poll thing.
Hey, listen. I mean, respectfully, guys, if you cannot behave, you're going to the goo. You understand? Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Round of applause, motherfuckers. Tara, jump in.
Yeah. So the idea of a poll based on Twitter and acting as if, oh my God, that reflects the sentiment of, everyone. That's really sort of silly. Grant Cardone is, of course, not a Zionist. You obviously you don't know that much about him. He's a pragmatist. He's a businessman. He supports Israel, but he's not. I would never call him a Zionist. And the fact that many of the people
you're a Zionist.
Stop. That's an interesting point. A lot of people on the other side have said basically they're trying to make this distinction between Jews and Zionists. Oh, I love the Jews. It's just the horrible, evil Zionists. Let me just tell you something. The Zionism itself is simply the desire for a Jewish state in Palestine as that evolved. Okay, it is not basically most Jews actually support that. They support the right of Israel to exist. They support the right of Israel to have a they support the right of Jews to have a Jewish state. What they don't support is basically many of the Netanyahu policies. There we have a schism within Israel itself. He didn't get a majority, as you probably know, 5 elections. He has to make these alliances, etc. It's not, they don't support some of the policies, but I really resent the fact that people are like, oh, the Jews are good. We just hate those Zionists, those Zios, etc. No. Most Jews are Zionists. And when you talk and when you try and make those distinctions, you're trying to parse out something that really doesn't exist. Why? Because you don't want to say we hate Jews, right? You don't really want to go there. What you want to say is, oh, it's the Zionists. But let us be clear. What you're really saying is we don't like most of the Jews. Okay. Number 2, let's talk about the census form. What I was saying is when you fill out a census form in the United States, they ask you your background, right? And if you've never filled one out, then you wouldn't know this. You're given options, and this goes on college applications, etc. It's all over the place. And Middle Eastern is one category. Middle Eastern, which is people who live in Israel, people of Palestine, people, etc., people from Syria, all over the place. And when you then parse it down further, they are considered white. Now, all I was commenting on is a lot of people on these stages constantly talking, you did, about white supremacy, this but whites can't be supreme over other whites. It doesn't work like that. That's not the definition of white supremacy. So let's stop that. You can talk about colonizing. You can talk all you want to about apartheid. You can do all those sorts of things, but what you can't do is white supremacy. Thank you.
Okay, so can we contradict this now
Well, let's
resolutely?
go
But
for
Habiba, before that happens, I want to just go back to the whole original point that we were talking about, because we digressed with a lot of like side note type of discussions and stuff. The whole point of the discussion is that U.S. support for Israel is dwindling. Even when you're talking about Jewish support, American Jewish support, yeah, most Jews are Zionists, except there's a huge gap in the younger generation of American Jews, and I think you can see that also in the polls that I think it reached nearly it was a bit under 50% of American Jews are more supportive of Palestine than they are of Israel, and there's a reason for that. So they're drifting away from the idea of Zionism. They can't align with what's going on in Israel. When you say Netanyahu doesn't have a majority, yes, he does. If he didn't have a majority, and the way the Israeli government works, it works like coalition building, similar to parliaments in
Which
the
is what I
UK.
said. He doesn't have
Yeah, I
majority
know.
on his
No, he
own.
doesn't have no party has a majority, so it's very suggestive to say something like that. And there's no single party that ever had one majority then ruled with a majority. They have to build a coalition, but that coalition passes laws and policies by consensus. And those laws and policies thereby get passed by a majority. So for him to even form a government, he has to have a majority, even if it's a coalition of other people. If you want to talk about his coalition, Netanyahu is the most moderate person in his coalition. He literally makes the other guys, like the other people, he looks like he's the most moderate person in his coalition. And so why has he been in power for the last 16 years if he wasn't popular? The problem is he is popular, and US American Jews haven't really woken up to the fact that the Israel that you knew is far gone. It's gone. Like they're drifting to the right anyways. Tried to point out that this is, this October 7 is going to cause like Israelis to drift more to the right. It's true. It is going to drift more to the right. But you know what is already happening? They've already been drifting very far to the right. And that's the point. The point is there is one state reality right now between the river to the sea, and that's the apartheid state of Israel. There's three sets of laws: the laws for Jewish citizens of Israel, non-Jewish citizens of Israel, and then Palestinians like myself who live in West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Gaza, who essentially have no rights at all as people, and every aspect of our lives is controlled by the Israeli government. And I think a lot of people, and that's why a lot of young people are starting to understand this, because they're not getting their sources from like mainstream media anymore. They're getting their sources by seeing what's actually happening on the ground, and seeing what people are posting through social media, what's happening to us on a daily basis. And that's causing them to shift their opinions. And they're not falling for the mantras like these slogans like Israel has the right to exist, Israel has the right to self-defense. These slogans don't work anymore. Like people are like starting to question this whole US support for Israel and how it's been getting like kind of very destructive for the West. The mask of like we're the protectors in terms of the West, the US, we're the protectors of international law and freedoms and all of that. But except for Israel. So that's what's causing them to lose a lot of legitimacy and causing a lot of backlash. And US support for Israel has caused a lot of animosity, historical animosity, most of the animosity, actually, towards the US by places in the Middle East and the East in general, because they see the US, has some set of rules for, some countries, and then, for Israel, it's above the law. So people are getting sick of
What's
it.
new?
And
What's new?
what's up,
When
Grant?
when when did that become new?
What do you mean?
You
Oh
think
wait,
that
the
that's
Zionist just came on stage, right,
that's
Grant?
that's a
Thank you,
sudden
Grant.
that's a sudden shift?
No, it's not. It's not a sudden shift. It's a slow shift.
So why would
it's a
anybody
snowball
be?
effect.
Why would anybody be surprised by it?
It's no one's surprised, but I'm not surprised by it at all, actually, because people are going to start shifting away from the idea of supporting Israel as like as a kind of standard and something that people can overlook what Israel's doing, and then find ways to like justify. And this is the problem with a lot of people who try to still defend Israel. And I respect Tira. She's a very like nice person. She's very genuine. But I think that the problem, I think Tira's problem is that the Israel that she knows and she knew is far gone, and she doesn't realize exactly what's really happening on a daily basis. These policies are very popular. Netanyahu is actually, not as an individual, but as an ideology, is super popular in Israel, and this is the problem. It's the U.S. Jews don't align with that view anymore, and neither does a lot of people in the
That is
West,
not
and
true.
especially young people.
Not true.
That is a
Nah,
fact.
not true, buddy. Not true.
But then let me get one mic on Cindy real
That
quick.
is so.
Ma, let's
That's
talk.
so far from the truth. American Jews are backing away from Israel, not supporting.
The younger generation, I said.
Yeah, what,
Cindy.
15 to 25? What generation? College kids? What generation are we talking about, honey?
Yeah, under 30.
Okay.
Under 30s.
The future.
Well, I got to tell you something.
Essentially the
The
future.
under
That is
30s are
not.
starting to move to the right.
That is not what I'm seeing in the Northeast at all. I'm down in Florida right now. The hotel I'm staying at has 8,000 Jewish people coming here for a big fundraiser. I don't know what you're
That's
talking about,
awesome.
but I don't know where Americans are
I'm
turning.
talking about the Jews that shut down this train station,
Buddy, there's always going to be
saying that
young.
they want to
There's
cease
always
fire
going to be
now.
young, crazy kids, but most Jewish kids are going to follow the steps of their parents. I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
We'll see, Cindy. We'll see. Their polls say
Okay, we'll
otherwise, and
see.
it's not my
We'll
polls.
see.
The ADL is freaking out, Cindy. They literally,
I mean,
Jonathan
what poll?
Greenblatt from
What poll are you referring to?
So
Like,
I'll send you the polls if you allow me to put them on the jumbotron. I'll show you the polls about U.S. Jews and about younger people.
let's
And
talk
another thing, no,
about it.
what's more important is that, and I'll show you the receipts as well. But I'll even show you the recording, a leaked recording of ADL's Jonathan Greenblatt saying they have a major, and he said it 3 times, major problem, generational problem. He's saying the problem is U.S. support, public support for Israel is a huge problem right now, and it's not a left or right divide, it's a generational divide. Young people do not support Israel in the West, and it's been the case in a lot of the East as well, because they don't get their news from the West, and they actually are exposed to the Palestinian narrative and what's going on much
Right.
more.
Naftali Bennett was also
I
freaking
have
out
to
about
so
that.
disagree with you on this
Naftali
one.
Bennett was also.
I'll show you. I'll show you. I'll show you.
You can
There's
show
nothing
me
to
anything you
disagree.
want,
It's stats.
but it's not true. Okay, Jewish kids, even
You have
college kids, are
anecdotal. You just have anecdotal.
No,
You just have
I'm
anecdotal
watching
data to
what's
respond,
around
though.
me, and
Yeah,
actually,
anecdotal.
Jewish kids,
where's your proof?
young Jewish. When I say young Jewish, 23, 24 to 32, 33 are actually getting more now involved than they ever have before in their own religion. Okay, so I don't know where you're seeing that. I don't know what state you live in. But I can tell you that's not happening in Massachusetts. I can tell you that's definitely not happening down in
Actually,
Florida right
most
now.
Zionists aren't Jewish, they're Christian. And the reason for that is because the evangelical movement in the US is unaware of what Palestinian Christians have been calling for. Tonight, there was a Palestinian evangelical pastor who gave a meeting in DC at 6 o'clock, right? A vigil, prayer vigil, to explain why Palestinian Christians, 200,000 of them, 7,000 in the West, in Gaza, are basically calling out against Israel and begging American Christians to understand what they're going through and why they don't want to be ethnically cleansed by Israel. So the majority of the support comes from groups like APAC gaming Christian churches throughout the country, whether or not they're evangelical, whether or not they're Episcopalian. All of these churches are unaware of what their compatriots are. And I'm not just talking about Palestinian Orthodox Christians, I'm also talking about Palestinian evangelical and Episcopalians. If you guys follow Palestinian Christians or have worked with them or live with them or know them, then you would understand that they are lockstep with Palestinian Muslims. Again, the whole of the Palestinian Christian movement is against Israel because they know that they are as threatened as like, and Firas can speak to this. It's like one community, and the reason that things are changing is because Christians in America are starting to realize that actually what they're doing is contributing to the decline of
So
Christians in
basically,
Palestine.
what you're saying, because I'm listening to you, Faraz. Basically, everyone is aligning against the Jews, is what you're saying. So the Jews are the devil, pretty much, correct?
No, he's not saying that at all.
No,
What the hell? How
actually,
the
that's
hell
what you're
did you
saying.
hear that from what I
What
said?
you
I
what you
said
just said?
even U.S.
One mic,
Jews.
Hold up, bro. Let me just say something.
That's not what I said, Jonathan. Though.
But no, hold 1 second. What was just said was Palestinian Christians, are support of the Palestinian Muslims, and so are the Christians in America, because they're able to, because they're starting to see, what the Palestinian plight, okay, and what Israel's
Did you
doing.
miss the part I said? And U.S. Jews.
Okay.
And U.S. Jews.
And U.S. Jews.
Yes,
There's a reason there's the
U.S.
young
and
Jewish
First of all,
movement.
U.S. Jews. So everyone hates the Israeli Jews, basically.
No, that's not.
But
Man, listen to what I'm saying, because
The
it's more
Israeli
nuanced.
Jews are
I know, but
secular,
one
by the
second.
way.
You guys are just making shit up right now. You guys are just
No, I'm
making
not
shit
making
up.
Okay,
shit up. I'll show
Jonathan,
you
you know there was a
proof.
big
Where's the
Jonathan.
proof that? Wait 1 second. Where's the
I
proof?
can prove it.
Why the hell you guys are talking while I'm speaking? Now we let you guys speak, but as soon as someone else starts disagreeing with you guys want to jump in because you don't want your narrative to be
Sorry,
fucking
brother.
challenged. Okay, so where is this proof and its evidence? Okay, because you said when Cindy spoke it was anecdotal. Where is your hardcore proof and evidence? Okay, and stats.
All right. I'm
Where's it?
posting it on my
So do you
page
know the
right now.
Jewish Voice for Peace?
I'm posting it. No, 1 sec, Habib. I'm posting it on my page right now. A Gallup poll and a Jewish Electorate Institute poll finds three things. 58% of American Jewish voters support restrictions on U.S. military aid and using it to expand West Bank settlements. 1/3 agree Israel's treatment of Palestinians is similar to racism in the U.S. And 1/4, 25% of them, see Israel as an apartheid state. The numbers have shocked some Jewish community leaders. This is skewed by the younger Jews in the US. And that's what I'm telling you. I'm about to post it on my page. I suggest you read it because you don't understand why the tides are shifting. And it has nothing to do with Muslims and Christians ganging up on Jews. No, there's US Jews are also involved in this, and they're part of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign. This is what I'm saying.
But part of it is because I actually kind of agree that there is a shift in terms of young people and young people in general, not just Jewish kids. But I do think that the reason for it is not because they're seeing the truth, but because they're going on they're getting their news from TikTok. They lack any historical groundings. Like, they do not know the facts. So what they're getting is the TikTok version of everything that's happening. And you would be they'd be very hard pressed to answer any questions in depth about any of the history. So I wouldn't use that as a show of some solidarity and the tide turning based on real information. I would use that as an indication that there's something wrong with our society where people turn to social media that lacks any nuance and depth.
Well, I don't use TikTok because it's owned by China, so I'm not going to go near it.
Nelson,
But what I
may I
would
talk?
say is what I would want to talk about is Tyra, because you were saying on the one hand that that Israel did
It's
not exert
Tira.
influence over.
It's
Hold
Tira.
on. Tira, sorry, Tira. You were saying that the US doesn't exert influence over, Israel doesn't exert influence over US institutions. But at the same time, you are saying that there are 37 laws on the books, 37 states in the US where it is illegal, right? If you want to do any business with a state in the US, you have to sign a contract saying you will not boycott Israel. How many of you guys knew that as Americans?
Well, I
I
actually knew that, but what I actually said, you got it completely wrong. What I said was what Firas was suggesting is that somehow AIPAC has been
It's not
giving
AIPAC. It's another Israeli
giving
pro-Israeli
lots of
lobbying group.
money to these state legislatures in
Tira, it
Tennessee,
is.
in
It's
South
Well, let
Carolina,
proven.
me ask
etc.,
you something.
to try
How
and
is it that
change their
how
views.
is
That is not true.
Hey, real quick,
That
Faraz,
is
real
true.
quick, let me get one mic. Faraz, respectfully, bro. I mean, when you talk, nobody interrupts you. Okay, if you do that again, respectfully, you're going to the audience.
That's
All
because
right.
I don't
But
lie,
Nelson,
man.
I
I'm
was
bounced.
talking and
So you
Tira
don't
interrupted
make
me.
lies up.
Listen, whatever you think is lies, I don't give a fuck. Don't interrupt anybody on my stage, respectfully, and they're not going to do the same to you. All right, thank you.
Nelson, can I continue, please?
You're wrong.
Absolutely not. Let her
You're
finish.
absolutely wrong, Tira.
Tara, go ahead.
All right.
AIPAC
What I was saying is that what you're basically saying is no person in America, even hardcore right-wing Republicans who seem to support Israel even more than Democrats do, no person in America could be possibly against BDS unless they were somehow being paid a lot of money by Israeli lobbies, etc. That is nonsensical, okay? You're saying things like that make no sense at all. Basically, there are a lot of
So, Tia, how
people.
do they do it?
There are a lot of people who believe that this sort of boycott is unfair to Israel because it's not being brought against other countries that are that can have lots of issues. You're not boycotting Russia, you're not boycotting Syria, you're not boycotting a lot of countries that probably have done infinitely worse things. Somehow it's only against Israel. And so what they feel is that is anti-Semitic because basically you're targeting one particular state that happens to be pretty much all Jewish or run by Jewish people or descendants of Jewish people, etc. And so honestly, that is what they feel. They feel it is unfair. They feel there is an anti-Semitic tinge to it. And I have to agree. I believe that. Now, Firas, you basically said that, oh, I'm just well-meaning and whatever and all this stuff. But in essence, I think Kat made a really good point. What's happening is a lot of people, a lot of younger Jews, and I agree that definitely there is a shift, but I'm not so certain that if you were to ask the question, should Israel be allowed to exist, which is something that's sort of been played on this stage a little bit, that they would say, oh no, get rid of it. All right. I think they are fundamentally, they believe it has a right to exist. They do not approve of its policies, certainly not in the West Bank. And to the extent they understand Gaza, I'm not sure that they approve of them or not. But if you were to say fundamentally, should they be allowed to exist or should they go away somehow? I think that you would see a difference, but that question is not asked.
I'll ask a better question.
Somebody finally admitted that there is a shift. If you think that there's not a heightened awareness, and there was a poll that came out of Reuters that public support for Israel in terms of the United States, it has dropped. And I said that the second week of October, just based on the optics and the amount of emotion, I would think that there would be more of a pragmatist approach to this all. And in terms of the topic of the room, it's this crazy mix of historical grudges, religious. There's such a thing as state-sponsored terrorism as well. And for the person who said, I don't think that we have to look to the census when we're looking to define white supremacy. We know what it is. And so with all these deep-rooted historical beefs that won't quit, Arab-Israeli wars, promises from God, it's like everybody's got their own version of history. And they're sticking to it. Nobody is willing to budge, just like Clubhouse, except lives aren't hanging in the balance here. It's like Israelis and Palestinians are like two neighbors. They can't agree on a property line. And this constant tug of war, religion just adds more fuel to the fire. So I don't think that there will be peace. There was almost a peace agreement. That's why a lot of this happened. And I think that Israel has played right into Hamas's hands because it's becoming more isolated. And the bottom line is that the fear of terrorism and violence has just increased. And nobody is happy about that. It's like it's a game of musical chairs and everybody is looking out for their own interests. And the U.S. is throwing its weight around. They do that, and they've done it with Israel unconditionally. So now there's even legislation to put conditions on that. It's like geopolitical chess and a lot of hypocrisy. And I saw this Vox video on the water scarcity and how it's been rerouted and routinely destroyed and bypassed. And it was just incredible. So I think that a lot of people, I talk to people on a daily basis that literally weren't even aware of the history. They just supported because they were Americans and that was that. But veils are being lifted and the refugee crisis has been going on forever. It's a big mess. People have been displaced. And so I don't think it'll ever end because, as long as there are groups that believe that they're chosen or that specific land belongs to them because it was promised by God, it'll never stop. Because when human beings put themselves above each other, that's when all hell breaks loose. We know this from history and sheer common sense. We have normalized conquering each other. It's a shame. It doesn't work. Somebody said earlier, how's that working for you? I don't think it's working for either party. And for people that are greedy, it's logical. We would have more if we found a way to live amongst each other. It's just waste. So a society stuck in this never-ending loop of one group oppressing another group and then them fighting back. Societies actually thrive when there's balance, fairness, and inclusivity. And I'll land there.
I gotta respond. I'm sorry.
Yehuda, jump in.
That was such a load of nonsense I've ever heard in my life. And this person tried to sound sophisticated and ecumenical and balanced.
Yehuda, that's what you're gonna try and do. Peace out.
Goodbye. No one cares for us. Go cry somewhere else. This individual.
No, Yehuda.
Shut up. I'm speaking. Okay, trust me, I've heard your gibberish for enough. Like, trust me, I've heard it for weeks. Weeks. I mean, there's so much gibberish, you should start a gibberish factory or something. This individual who said, there's one group of people who think they're the chosen people, blah, 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 blah. Guess what? No one here, no one on the Israeli side, as we've heard, we don't have Ariel here, has ever said that Israel has a right to any land because they're chosen. That is a racist trope, and shame on you, coming from a minority background, to gaslight Jews with such a stupid, ignorant comment. The Jews, Israel was created by mandate with international recognition based upon the 800,000 dunams of land they bought with malarial swamps, desert strips that they converted to cities, farms, and towns. And for you to say that the claim that the Jewish people have to Israel is based on being chosen shows that you're as dumb as you sound. So shame on you. And if you really want to be serious, go and listen to Hamas. Go and listen to the terrorists who say that they will kill every Jew on the planet, and they're not just going to end in Israel. They're going to go everywhere and kill all the Jews. You keep talking about, oh, there's an oppressor and an oppressed. Listen, go look up the Rambam, Moses ben Maimon, one of the greatest Jewish scholars. He died in the 12th century. He wrote an epistle to the Yemenite Jews where he said, the Arabs are the greatest oppressors of our people. He lived as a Jewish second-class citizen in Egypt. He was born in Morocco. Sorry, correct. He was born in Spain, moved to Morocco, moved to Egypt. He was a physician of an Islamic, a Muslim caliph, a sultan. And he said to his own people, we have to endure the pain because God has sanctioned this. Right? This is what the Jewish experience in the Muslim world has been. So when you say dumb, stupid shit like that, you think you're clever, you think you're smart, and for a person who's experienced racism her whole life, for you to say that this is our experience, you shame yourself, you shame your ancestors, and you degrade the condition of the Jewish people today. For going back to Habiba and her nonsense about Christian Palestinians, my God, Christian Palestinians in Lebanon have experienced hell and torment unknown. She says, "Oh, Episcopalians." Listen, here's the proof. The proof is in the pudding. You want to? You think you want to lie and gin up nonsense on the internet that Christian America is against Israel? Why is Israel in Gaza? How are they there? Because they're there with world support. Why is Israel bombing Hamas to smithereens? Because America, the European Union, everyone with a functioning brain has said, yeah, Hamas are terrorists, they're evil, they rape women, babies, they kill children. Just saw a video today of a 12-year-old being pulled out of the flatbed of a truck and shot in the face by a bunch of friggin' maniacs, murderous thugs. And you want to sit here and say you have some kind of semblance of normalcy or justice on your side? And to the woman who just spoke before, I say again, shame on you. You don't understand anything about Judaism. You don't understand about the multiple...
Crybaby idiot. Can he shut up? He's annoying. Holy fuck.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. You don't understand anything about the modern day state of Israel, the black Jews from Ethiopia, the Indian Jews from India, the Arabic speaking, they call them Arab Jews. They're not. They're Iraqi Jews. They're Syrian Jews, Libyan, Algerian, Moroccan, Egyptian, Tunisian Jews that all populate the land of Israel. You don't have a goddamn clue what you're saying. You sound like a clown. And if it wasn't personal for me, because that's where my family is from, I wouldn't be so pissed off. So when you talk your nonsense, oh, I speak to people every day. Good for you. I speak to people every day too. I'm a human being. I talk to people, and that's somehow your claim to fame. That's your position from authority, that you talk to people. You know what? Get off Clubhouse. Go read a book.
Okay, so let's answer what he said.
Do you have anything of substance to add?
Talking about me.
I don't care what you have to say.
Wait, 1 second. Let me get one mic real quick. I mean, Yehuda
Jesus, Murphy Nelson. I'm losing my marbles.
Yehuda just jumped on this thing like the goddamn IDF, man. I mean,
No, Nelson,
I'm
no,
about
because
to bomb
Nelson,
some
I just want to
terrorists
say
verbally.
Fire.
I want to say something, but and I have to jump out. And I just
One
want to
second, guys. 1 second. We have to give this lady a chance to respond. Go ahead and respond, ma'am. Respond.
Sorry, he keeps talking about me and I can't respond.
1 second.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Go ahead, Madison. We can't hear you. Okay, Habiba, go ahead.
That's a blessing from God Almighty.
So Yehuda's tactic is to ramble and accuse excuse me, I'm talking. Yehuda's tactic is to ramble and then accuse everyone of anti-Semitism and being against the Jews. And Tira just did that as well. Now, the reason that the UN General Assembly voted to regard Zionism as racism, right, was because it's the longest running occupation, one of the longest running occupations in the world. This is why people are opposed to it. And when we talk about racial domination, right, we're quoting the founders of Israel when they're talking about how they want to colonize, displace, and dispossess the natives. Herzl, in his own words, that's how he referred to them. We're not describing in our own words, we're quoting the founders of Israel, whose specific mandates. And if you look at Herzl, you look at Jabotinsky, just Google both of them, right? Look at what they say about how they want to dominate and displace and send Palestinians scurrying around. Like one of them said, like cockroaches, right?
They
Their
never
goal.
called them Palestinians.
Excuse me?
They never called them Palestinians.
So you're interrupting, first of all.
To them.
So
yes, I am. Thank you. I'm interjecting.
Not only did they call them Palestinians,
you speak English.
No, so he keeps interrupting. So his whole goal is to obfuscate, right, and accuse everyone of anti-Semitism, whereas it's nothing to do with that. Literally, when the founders of Zionism set out, they said, "We will make allies of all of the anti-Semites to build this country." I quote. Right? This is their objectives. This is what they were seeking to do, and they've documented this really clearly when they outlined how they were going to take over the whole of Israel.
Yeah, they did not. Everyone can Google that for themselves. They could read a book. Actually, Habiba is actually the master.
Let me just quote you. Let me just quote. I'm happy to quote if you want me to quote.
You finish. You gave it up.
One thing is, I worry, like a lot of the time, what happens in these spaces is, and in general, is like people will take things in little excerpts and attribute it, and then we don't actually know the full context, and it's very difficult to correct the stuff.
So let me finish. So Jabotinsky argued that Palestinian Arabs would not agree to a Jewish majority in Palestine, and he said in his paper called The Iron Wall, he said Zionist colonization must either stop or else we've got to proceed regardless of the native population. He said further, which means that it can proceed and develop only under the protection of a power that is independent of the native population behind an iron wall, which the native population cannot breach. The only solution, he argued, was to establish, they all argued for a Judenstaat, right? A Jewish state, which literally ethnically cleansed, displaced, and committed genocide. So when we talk about racial domination, we're quoting Israel's founders. When we're talking about Zionism, and colonialism, we're quoting Israel's founders. It's not us saying this. It's not us being anti-Semitic. We're just quoting the Israeli founders. Now, when Tira,
you're taking it out of context.
So when Tira talks about,
what's the context?
When Tira talks about, Israel doesn't exert influence over US policy. And the reason I asked Americans in this audience, how many of you guys knew that if you wanted to do business with 37 states in America, you have to sign a contract promising not to boycott Israel? Now, why is this so dangerous to the US Constitution and your constitutional rights? Why? And why is it that most of us don't even know how insidious this is? Okay, the reason it's really dangerous is because they've been exerting influence not only on Congress, on the foreign policy, on military aid, which is why you've got more than $4 billion going, right? There's a bill in Congress that wants to send $14.3 billion in American military aid on December the 4th.
But you just said America's losing their faith in Israel.
On December the 4th, they want to send $14.3 billion of taxpayer money to Israel. Right? And why is that? And why are people contesting it now? And why is it that all these laws are changing and Americans aren't even aware? Because the control from this particular Israel lobby, it's not anti-Semitic to say it, because there's a study which proves exactly how insidiously and systematically Israel has been managing, controlling, suppressing, and distorting American foreign policy and American democratic interests. The more you look into this rabbit hole, it's not anti-Semitic to say this. In fact, it's the opposite. If you want to preserve Jewish security, what you would do is the opposite. You would look at ways to protect democracies around the world, which is why I believe that, Jews and Muslims should live together, and Christians in Israel as equals, right? And people who don't argue for that, people who are arguing for Jewish supremacy state, are people like Yehuda.
Blah, blah, blah. Habiba, it's so silly. It's so silly
What's
what you're
silly?
saying.
I can literally quote
Everything
you
you
left, right, and
say is
center,
a
Herzl,
joke.
Jabotinsky, all of them.
Everything you say is a joke. May
wait.
I
If that's
respond
your
to this
response,
bull
it's not
crap?
much of a response.
Yeah, your response to my comments are,
Real quick,
wow, I'm
Yoda, real quick. I just want to highlight something real quick, and then I'll toss it to you to respond. You know, to make it seem as though the 14 point something billion we're giving to Israel is a big deal. I mean, and try to form it into or make it a part of some wilder conspiracy is kind of crazy, considering the fact that we've given Ukraine probably 5 times that, 4 times that. Who knows? Who knows how much, right?
And that's the reason I believe in aid to Ukraine, and I work on
I
it.
mean, there's no goddamn conspiracy. It's very simple.
No,
Right?
it's been hundreds of billions over the years.
Calm down. We picked a side, and that side is getting attacked. Therefore, we're supporting that side. It's that simple.
No, you created
No,
you
it ain't.
created that
Right?
side actually.
It's not
Nelson.
at all that.
It is that
please.
simple. Hope to jump in.
Yeah, please. Contractions, not so much, Habiba. Ain't. Listen, Habiba is a very interesting cat. She literally, I mean, it's not just word salad and verbal diarrhea, but she wants to paint a picture. If you've noticed, she speaks out of both sides of her mouth. If she had 4 sides, she'd speak out of 4 of them. She said initially, just a few minutes
Can you
ago
stop
before
with the ad hominems?
it's not an ad hominem. You're talking crap. All right, you have no. You are a person who told an audience of 1,000 people
Literally, he
that
just
if you
keeps
want to
using
learn
ad
everything
hominems.
you need
So I'm
to
gonna.
know about the
Guys,
Israel-Palestine
let's not make
conflict,
it
I've
personal.
got a 1-minute video for you. You are literally the bigotry of low expectations.
See, there he
You are
goes.
the person that
There he
wants to
goes
tell
again.
people, I
Can
will
you guys
sell
stop the
you a
person?
bridge in
Yeah,
Brooklyn
Yehuda,
and
act
blah
like a
blah blah.
grown up, please.
I'm
You're
not
so
even listening to
disgusting.
you. I lowered my speaker
Can you
today.
guys move on,
Listen,
please?
if I want to have a 12-year-old
Can you guys
conversation,
move on?
I'll find middle schoolers to talk to. So sit down, Habiba. You are talking so much nonsense. You literally contradict yourself on every second statement you make. Everyone sees it.
Can you actually
Fuck,
come
I'm
up with a
going to give
fact
you
instead of
my
ad
Twitter.
hominems?
Listen, Habiba, stop talking.
Literally.
I'm going to give you my Twitter password, and I want you to read the responses people send me about you. It's so
Yehuda,
bad
you've also
that I
sent
feel
me
sorry
messages
for
saying I'm
you.
a baby
I
killer.
feel
So
so
let's just
bad
move
that I want to
on.
become Palestinian Yehuda just to help
Can we
you.
not make this
Your
personal, Nelson?
nonsense is so
Yoda,
ridiculous. You've
Yoda,
said
bro.
It's boring. Nelson,
Yoda,
move on, please.
I mean, debate her points, my brother. I mean, we can't spend 5 minutes listening to you talking trash. I mean, let's get to the point, bro. Jump in, break it down.
Listen, you know what? She spends so much time talking nonsense. I just feel I have to debunk it, Nelson. So here's what she said. She said on your own space, not within the last 15 minutes, that the everyone, the Christians, everyone's against Israel. It's coming, and then she goes on. Oh, they're spending so much money to help. So make up your mind. Either America, the free world, people with values and morals are supporting Israel, or they're not. But you're saying the same. You're saying opposite things literally. I think you expect the listeners in Nelson's space to have a memory as short as a pickle, right? You say one thing, and then when you get disproven there, you jump to
Yehuda, do you have a
another.
point?
I'm getting there.
Get there
So,
fast, please. It's just getting boring.
I know that your
You're just
attention
rambling.
span. I know that your attention span is
Okay, it's
picklish.
318 billion.
I'm not done talking.
318 billion people.
You just said that Israel is on they're being beaten. It's almost over for them.
What's
The
your point,
American public.
Yehuda?
But why don't you listen? You know what? I heard a Turkish Muslim sheikh say, God gave people 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Maybe you should listen twice as much as you talk. So let me say this. You
Okay,
have
in
now
conclusion, you've got
said,
nothing to say, people.
I know you have a thing with the Turks. Listen, you've said things that don't make sense. You've said that the Jews or Israel are not supported by America, and then you said the Americans support them too much.
So they give the US is giving 320
I'm sorry,
billion.
why does she get to talk over
320 billion.
Why does she get to talk over
to Israel?
I'm just curious.
Is that a fact?
Why are you talking? Okay. And the only reason why I suspect she's talking is she's so disturbed, she's so vexed by facts that she needs to interrupt and she needs to posit these points because she knows she's losing the argument.
Guys, we're bored now.
Listen, Habiba.
We're bored. You're boring.
Habibi, you have been losing the conversation for 8 weeks. And that's fine. I'm happy to
With
be
all
here
due
to
respect, Yehuda, can you please not make it personal? I want
thank
to
you.
learn from you. I want to learn from you.
She's
He
already
has
made it.
no points. All he
This is
does is
really boring.
insult
She's
her.
made okay.
Let's go,
Everyone's talking.
Yehuda.
All
Focus
right.
on
3 on
the
1.
fact.
3 on 1. Don't worry. Get 6
Yeah.
on 1. You'll need it.
Okay, thank you for the interesting point, which was
No.
I don't know what, guys.
Habiba. Bus. So all I'm saying is this. I want to point out to the audience that she has contradicted herself within not even 10, 15 minutes. She started by saying the Christian population and the American public, blah, 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 they're abandoning Israel. And then she's like, they're giving so much money to Israel. Make up your mind. They hate them. They love them. They don't like them. They maybe are there. They're not there. Listen, your
Okay,
friends
Yehuda,
in
talk to yourself, mate. I don't know what you're on
yeah,
about,
blah,
mate.
blah, blah. Your friends in Hamas are going to be finished soon. America will win. The Israelis will win. They will change the culture in Gaza. Palestinians will get a shot at peace in spite of you, not because of you, in spite of you. Nelson, I'm going to listen. I want to hear the level of insanity here, and I'm going to try to jump in where I can. Thanks so much.
So again, like we're talking about Yehuda being dodgy. Guys, look into Yehuda. That's all I have to say.
Okay, there was.
Nelson, may I speak?
Look into you, Habiba.
Look into Yehuda's funding in Ukraine. Look into that.
Yeah, look into it.
All right. So what I'd like to say about the funds to Israel.
Look into it.
So you motherfuckers.
320.
1 second. Let me get one mic. I mean, listen. For anybody on Twitter or social media to spend their time looking into another user, right? When someone like me hears something like that, I mean, the first thing that comes to my goddamn
It's a
head.
threat.
No,
he
you
just
ain't.
said my Turkish links. I mean, my literal.
Check this out. It's very simple for me. You ain't got nothing better to do with your goddamn time, right? So my advice for some of you guys on Twitter to spend your time on bullshit, right? In the nighttime, let's jump in the show. Let's have fun. In the daytime, go make some fucking money, right? Stop wasting time on bullshit.
Nelson, may I get in?
I agree.
Okay, it's that simple. Jump in, Habiba.
Nelson,
Let's go.
come to Clubhouse.
Okay, so Israel has been given over about $320 billion in aid. And when we talk about the US and Israel relationship, what are we talking about? It's not just military aid. There's so many different types of provisions that endanger US democracy and US interests. And that's why Mearsheimer and Walter Mearsheimer dedicated so much time into exposing, because they were worried about US national interests. And I get accused of all sorts of things like, you know, being a Turkish agent. And as Yehuda just did, I have worked for Turkey. It's in my bio.
It's in
I
your
worked
bio.
at TRT.
It's not secret. It's in your
Yeah,
bio.
so he's accusing me of being an agent. So when I said to people, look into Yehuda's past, I'm literally pushing the ball back and I'm saying, why don't you do that for Yehuda? Okay, so again, when we come back to the US-Israel relationship, who needs who? To suggest that the Middle East needs Israel as a place to prop it US interests up, it's not true. It's got allies all over the show, right? It's got people who are US supporters throughout the Middle East. There is the axis of resistance, but to suggest that they can't manage without the US, or that they need our taxpayer funds, or that they need military aid is untrue. It's just literally a leeching relationship. The grants, there were two things that people need to watch out for. In 2015, there was a Goldstone report, which looked at the ways in which the whole of Israel is compromised in terms of military aid, in terms of what they do, in terms of the Dahir Doctrine, in terms of all these things. And then what happened on the US side, Palestinians in the US, they started to looking into the Arms Control Act and the Leahy Law, which is talking about the provision of military aid to Israel and why it's dangerous because they are committing atrocities, and US aid should never be given to countries that commit atrocities. And the reason I support and defend and protect aid to Ukraine is because they are being aggressed against by Russia. They have been occupied by Russia. They have been, you've got the entire Crimea who's been under siege, and they've been ethnically cleansed for centuries now, right? So the Ukraine fight is not just about Ukraine, it's about fighting for US interests globally and pushing back against Russia. Why on earth do we support Israel? What is Israel doing for America other than leeching it, and in Netanyahu's words, manipulating it? Look at the video I posted where he talks about how easily he can game Americans. And it's not just Netanyahu saying it. Every single Israeli politician, Naftali Bennett just did a whole tour. They come in, literally Israeli politicians come in and they game. You know what happened this week? They've been giving US congressmen private explanations about IDF activities. They're gaming congressmen and they pay congressmen day in, day out, right? A lot of these people, you've got congressmen being bought off, literally being paid in terms of foreign interests by Israel. The reason AIPAC is more dangerous for America than any other group is because not only is it lobbying, right? If you look at this, the history of to what extent AIPAC operatives have taken US state secrets, they've turned people into spies. They've turned people like Satterfield, who is currently the US aid envoy to Gaza. He passed secrets, official national secrets to Israel, right, in 2015. Google it, it's in the New York Times. So these people are not compromising just one perspective or one part of America. They're compromising root and branch from the security services to the Congress to laws. It's a dangerous situation.
Abiba,
Yeah, go
like,
ahead, sorry.
what's the point though? So what? So what? What's going to change? What do you expect to change? What is
Nelson,
talking?
if you're interested in building democracies in the Middle East, and that's all I've worked on, right?
No one's interested in doing a goddamn thing in the Middle East, right? But we're all here talking about the Palestinian situation, the Israeli situation, right?
Look, if you can
next?
solve the Palestinian security
What does
situation,
any of this have to do with it? Is my
if you can
question.
solve the Palestinian security situation, you won't have a volatile Middle East. It's at the root of all of the conflicts in the Middle East. There's no resistance axis without something to resist against.
Here's the deal. I'm pretty sure the smartest people in our goddamn country know that. I'm pretty sure our three-letter agencies know that. So
do you think we'd have Hamas if there was no occupation?
You have a percentage of people on a planet that believe there's an occupation. You also have a percentage of people that don't believe there's a goddamn occupation. Matter of fact, now you have October 7th, and now you have it so that 75% of people in Gaza, matter of fact, in Palestine, support Hamas. Now you
but
have
Nelson, like I said,
wait, calm down.
Yeah,
you got 76% of Palestinians.
I can't hear you.
We lost you.
You guys hear me?
I can't hear you.
Now,
can you guys hear me?
Now,
We
but
can
not
hear you now.
before.
Okay, so you got where were you? Where at? 75, 70, 76% of Palestinians that support the October 7 attacks. Okay, right. So you're literally in a place of no return right now.
No,
so
that's not true, Nelson.
So the
it's not true.
How do you think the Palestinian issue is going to be solved? Tell me. What's your preferred solution?
Okay, so however the Palestinians determine it is up to them. It's sovereignty. Hold on. So let me explain. So support for political violence recedes, which means it kind of almost goes out of the window when there's a peace option on the table. So in 1996, when the Oslo Accords, the Bill Clinton, all these guys put together, what happened? Right? Support for a peaceful process among Palestinians went up to 80%. So whenever there's a peaceful option, whenever they're not being terrorized, the support among Palestinians for peace goes through the roof, right? If there's no option for them and they're being repressed and there's state terrorism, did you guys talk about what happened today with the Nasser hospital? Did you see what happened with that?
What happened?
You see that did you guys hear about this?
Tell us what happened.
Did you guys hear that basically, you know, when they were forced out, they were being shelled, the doctors in Nasser hospital, it's not Shifa hospital. There was some babies and patients in the ICU. Do you guys know what happened? They were forced out at gunpoint and they were shot when they left, according to Médecins Sans Frontières, the Doctors Without Borders. Did you guys know what happened? So today was the first day people could go back into the hospital. Israel had taken control of the hospital. And the doctors had to leave the babies in ICU because they weren't allowed to take the incubators. They went out at gunpoint. And when people returned to the hospital, let me talk. When people returned to the hospital, they found the bodies of the babies, and there's a video of it, decomposed. These babies, premature babies, were decomposed. The IDF killed them.
5 minutes?
Did you guys see it?
How long? 5 minutes?
Did you guys see it? I'm not talking to you, Yehuda. Stop it, please.
Decompose.
Habiba, if it was true, if it was true, it was on the news. We never heard about it.
You're going to see it in the Washington Post
It is
tomorrow.
on the news.
Right? And we've got a video of it. This is what happened. These babies were
From Al
decomposed.
Jazeera?
Shifa.
From Al Jazeera?
It's not just the 8 babies that were killed at Shifa. It's at Nasser Hospital. If you haven't seen the video, seen the video, it's
like okay, cool. Here's the deal, right? Even the stuff you're saying right now, to all the parents that lost those babies. By the way, rest in peace to those babies. To all the parents that lost those babies, do you think they're just gonna forget? Right? Do you think they're just gonna accept peace with the fucking Israelis? Like, listen to what you're saying right now. You're highlighting catastrophic shit.
Yeah.
Right? You're Fighting catastrophic shit that's affecting hundreds of thousands of families, right? You have 1 point something million people that have been displaced. Do you think those people are just going to sit back and forget about it and say, fuck it? Let's make peace with some goddamn Israelis and get a one-state solution, right? Do you think
It's
that's
already
going to
happened. It's happened before.
That's
It
cap.
didn't.
So
Nothing
let me
like
explain
that
how.
before.
Let me explain
Still
how.
not. That's cap. Nothing
Okay.
like this has ever happened before.
No, Nelson, let me explain.
Nelson, may I speak about it, please?
So basically, what you
I want
had
to.
was, excuse me, I'm talking, that you had the
Too
PLO. The
bad.
PLO did commit terrorist acts. It did commit suicide bombings. It did engage in terrorist acts and political violence. And what did they do 30 years ago? They renounced violence, right? So they came to the table. And people like Yasser Arafat, you remember Yasser Arafat who came and met with Clinton? Okay,
Who
he
can
renounced violence.
forget?
And he held up, and there's this amazing speech where he said, listen, people, I have an olive branch in my hand because, you know, Palestine is the land of olive groves and
That's
beautiful
not
farmers
from
and that
that's
kind of
not
thing.
from the
He
peace deal.
held up
That's
he's held up an olive grove
an
in his
idiot.
hand. And he said, in one hand, I've got an olive grove, an olive branch. And he said, in the other, I've got an AK-47. He said, do not let me lose control or lose my hand on the olive branch.
Drop.
Because
It's
for him, and again, you've got to realize all the Palestinians are fighting for is just the chance to live without state terrorism. When you offer the option of peace, it's proven that Palestinians will take it. That
cap.
all
offer
right.
has to
So
be on the table.
Nelson,
And you know, the thing is,
I have to respond.
Netanyahu
Nelson,
today,
Nelson, may I speak about it, please?
What was
Because
that?
she's
Netanyahu
lying.
today,
No,
Netanyahu,
Nelson.
Yo, to
Nelson.
jump in.
Yeah, so poor Habiba in her all of her propaganda training has not even goddamn even researched this. So this was a speech from Arafat at the United Nations. She's so not even clever enough to know that's not the speech he gave with Clinton in the White House.
I didn't
Do
say
not
it
let
was. I gave an example of
you
it.
did. You're not very clever. You're
No,
not
I
very
said it was.
clever.
I said it was a.
Habiba, I've met peanuts smarter than you.
Can you stop putting
You
words into my
honest
mouth?
No, you just said it. You just don't
We
like
need to
listen.
divide these people into
You
two.
cannot even get a fact straight. Habiba, you're not talking to drunk people at a pub in the UK after a party.
Yehuda,
You're
frankly, you do sound
talking
a
to
bit
normal.
trolleyed.
Yeah, well, trolleyed. I'm talking to you, so that's probably the
You sound a
reason.
bit off it. Sorry.
Yeah. Because I'm tired. You know, I have a life and I have children, and you have nothing, and I get it, and it must be sad. But I'll tell you this: the fact that she can't even quote Yasser Arafat at all. She's making things up. This is the problem. We live in a world of post-truth, Nelson, where people just say things, sound bites, clicks. She thinks she's winning the conversation. At the end of the day, regardless if you like what I say or
Yehuda,
if you
how
like
much have
what
you had to
M
drink
says,
tonight?
oh, would you shut up for the love of God? Learn some manners and stop talking. Trust me, I listen to you and I don't want to, but I do it for the sake of the space. You listen to people like this. They're getting, I won, I clicked. I'm a big hero. I've eaten bigger fish than you, and I'll eat bigger fish than you every
Nelson,
day.
just move to someone with something to say. Okay?
You are trying to convince the population that are listening, the people that are listening, and you're doing it based on sound bites, colonialism, apartheid, South Africa, blah,
I'm
blah,
just
blah, blah,
quoting
blah.
Israelis,
And
brother.
it's so silly, and it's actually quite funny for us to listen to. But I'll tell you one thing. The proof, madam, is in the pudding. The United States, the Western countries know exactly what kind of terrorists that you support. They know who they are. They know who Hamas are.
Hey,
They might not agree with
the United
Netanyahu.
States
I
though? What
can't
about the United
stand the
States, bro?
man. But the difference is they know that they need to support at least the most competent, sophisticated, intelligent people there. They know that
Okay, Yehuda's
Hamas
not
are a
saying anything,
terrorist
guys.
organization.
Come
They
up with someone who's
know
actually.
that what you say is nonsense.
Nelson,
And
may I
that's
get in
why
here? I have
they're
a
putting their money where
Mira,
their mouth is. They support it.
one second.
Sorry,
Yo,
Nelson.
let me get Jerry in here real quick. Jerry, what's up, man? What you got to say?
Nah, I'm just listening to this guy, and you know, I'm not, you know, literally picking sides, but the way he's talking to her.
Did you just assume my gender?
Okay, well, whatever you are, I don't know. Human? What are you? A bear? I don't know. What do you?
Them.
What do you consider yourself? What are you? What do you consider yourself? I don't know what you are. You sound like a guy. Well, what do you consider yourself?
Sound a little bigoted to me. Go ahead. Don't worry.
Bigoted? That sounds a little bigoted. But listen, the way this guy is talking to this lady, I assume it was a lady he was talking to.
That's
I'm a
generous.
girl,
That's
yeah.
generous.
And
Yehuda's so rude.
he's speaking so rude. I mean, like, who
Because
is
she's
this
a
guy?
racist Jew hater. What do you want me to do?
Well, I personally haven't heard her say anything that sound like a racist Jew hater.
Come by more often.
I just heard her saying some stuff that didn't align with your facts, and I guess because she didn't have a I don't know what, a blueprint right in front of her, or newspaper article to quote it exactly, it didn't fit your narrative. That's what I heard. And when you make a statement that even the United States, do you know how much crooked bullshit the United States have done? And you're going to justify your argument with the goddamn United States? Are you crazy?
Yes, I will respect the United States of America. They do the right thing on
No,
balance.
I didn't say that. Listen. You cannot make your argument and say even the United States. Now, I think this is some terrible shit that's going on both sides, right? But if you're going to keep it real, bro, keep the shit real.
I'm trying to.
If you're going to talk about the United Nations, how about when the United Nations came with a solution and Israel wouldn't agree with it?
When did that happen? Tell me when it happened.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. You give me a couple minutes.
Tell me when I like you. I like you. You're fair.
Why would you call me a brother?
When did that happen?
Why would you call me a brother? How do you know I'm not a sister? Why would you do that?
I assumed your gender. I'm sorry.
So listen, bro.
So, dude, bro, tell me when that happened. Honest, real talk. When did that happen?
Listen, here's the bottom line. You do a little research, okay? You do a little research, and he talked about how they came with an agreement, and the United Nations came with it, and Israel would not agree with it.
Please, brother, tell me when that was. I want to learn from you.
Listen, bro, listen. I don't want to have to mute you, okay? They kept coming with more and more demands they want. Then the Palestinians wanted their refugees. Do you know that part? They want their refugees.
But tell me when. Can you tell me when that was? I learned from you. When did the UN come and Israel said no? Tell me, please.
Listen, do me a favor, okay? For 1 second. Mute your mic for 1 second while I talk.
I'm just asking help, bro.
Hey, bro. Mute your mic before I mute it for you. Okay? Mute your mic for 1 second, okay? That's how we're gonna play a game. Let me finish talking, then you can talk. How about that?
I love it.
Okay? That's the game that we're gonna play. Now, back to what I was about to say. It was many things. Now, once again, I think this is a terrible thing for both sides. But if you're gonna talk about it, keep the shit real. How would you feel if you were a refugee, you got kicked out of your land, and you fucking can't even come back? How would you feel about that? So that's all I'm saying. If you're gonna have a conversation, bro, keep it real. But once again, I'm not picking sides. I think anything that's involving innocent kids, family, period. I think that's a terrible thing. But don't come in here with your voice inflection, the way you sticking your chest out, talking this lady, trying to dominate with your voice, like you think that makes your point more accurate, because it doesn't. You know what the framing effect is, right? You know what the framing effect is.
Nope. What is it?
You can frame anything in a certain way and make a series of statements. Some of it is true to make the rest of your argument that's not true. That's what you're doing, bro. And I'm sitting here.
That's what Habiba does.
Anyway, Habiba, would you like to say something? Go ahead.
Jerry,
Nelson,
I just appreciate you.
I
appreciate you, man.
And once again, I'm not picking sides,
Nelson.
but this guy is so aggressive. It's almost like
kind of hurting my feelings, Jerry.
Yeah, well, bro, I don't know. Go do some push-ups or something. Get tough or something. I don't know.
Get tough. I'm 6'3" and 250. I don't know how tougher I can get.
Jerry, I have a question for you, Jerry. So you don't think that October 7th is relevant? I mean, you don't think that? Yeah, you looking at history? Are you factoring it? What are you doing here?
No, I'm gonna say this one more time. Anything that's involving people being hurt, I don't care what color you are, what nationality, that doesn't matter. It's a terrible, terrible thing. But all I'm saying is, in order to have good debates, let's keep it real. Let's talk about that's like something happening, 2 months ago. But so that can be the effect or the result. That's a universal law called the universal law of cause and effect. What was the thing that helped lead to that effect? That was a cause. So we have to talk about what happened a long time ago.
I don't think it's relevant. Well, I mean, when you look at what happened October 7th.
Agreed, Jonathan. Agreed.
Jerry,
Jonathan,
hold on. What's respectfully, what do you think the history has to do with this shit, Jerry? You understand?
No, I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about October 7th per se. I'm talking about this whole freaking fight. This fight isn't just, huh?
With the Jewish people?
Yeah, I'm just talking about this whole bullshit, Palestine and Israel, all this crazy stuff going on in the world on that side of the world. That's what I'm talking about.
So Jerry, it's crazy in what way, Jerry?
Jonathan, I've got to run, but I wanted to jump in. I wanted to jump in quickly. I think you're gonna like what I have to say because I try to stay balanced. Look, when we look at the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, there's no doubt that this has been a failure of leadership across the board on the Palestinian side. When I say Palestinian, I mean the Arab side, the Israeli side, and the US side. You know, historically, when you look at some of the Arab leaders, some of them were extremely incompetent from my perspective. Some of them just politicized the issue, and some were short sighted. And that, historically, in the past 20 years, though, Netanyahu has done everything possible to kill a two-state solution. And this is not me saying it, right? This is Ehud Barak saying it,
I'll
Ehud
agree with
Olmert
you.
saying it.
I agree with you.
I appreciate that. And there are reasons why he did that, right? One of his reasons, because I've really extrapolated as to why he would be against it. One of his reasons is that, okay, if I allow a Palestinian state, what's to say that they will just not get strong and attack me back? You
No,
know?
he's a racist idiot, Tawab. You're wrong. He's a racist idiot. That's why.
But this, okay, I don't know about his heart. Maybe he
No,
is, maybe it
I
isn't.
know the guy. No, let me tell you this. He doesn't think the Palestinians are get strong. It's because he's a
Well,
racist
in
and he's an idiot.
2014, the 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 two-state solution, when it got killed in 2014, it was about his focus on security because he said, "Look, I still want to be able to manage the Palestinians' security," which really boils down to his fear that what happens if they get strong and they attack us. That's one. And then there are elements within the Israeli population that says we spilled blood for this land. We fought the Arabs. We got this. Why should we give it back? And then in addition, Israeli politicians are also scared to act because you've got 700,000 settlers who make up a sizable voting bloc. So you need a lot of courage to really push this forward. And you know, historically, we know all the facts of what has happened in the past 20 years. The settlers was one of the biggest issues for each U.S. president because it was difficult for the Israelis to really fix. Now, I say the following: you really need leadership with foresight and vision to be able to pursue peace. It took Europe 2 world wars to realize that trying to dominate, overpower each other is not going to work. Let's work on an economic plan. And in the past 60 years, the EU as a model it's a bureaucratic nightmare. But what it has done is that it has kept them in peace and harmony, and they're living peacefully in the past 70 years. And these are people like the French and the Germans who killed millions across the board, right? So it's not like the Palestinians and the Israelis can't get along. They can. You need proper leadership, and it will take time. I mean, take a look at the following perspective. The Holy Land can be the topmost tourist destination in the world, which will bring over a couple billion Christians, a couple billion Muslims. The amount of money that you can make if there was peace there and you could use that as a tourism destination would be humongous. If there was also peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians, it would open up Israel to 50 countries, 50 plus countries for trade, which would make Israel an economic powerhouse in that region. And if you're able, and then there's the canal that you can create between the river and
Hey,
and
I have a
the
question. I have a question for
Mediterranean.
you, sir.
Let
I
me
have a
finish.
question for
Let
you.
me finish my last thoughts. If you are able to do this, you create economic interdependencies. When you create economic interdependencies, then people within the Palestinian community would prevent any asshole to go do something that would jeopardize their well-being or their economic interests. And this is how you achieve peace. Now, I'm saying this because I've actually worked on something like this in the past, and I do believe that you can
Sir.
achieve peace. You just have to have the right leadership, good faith actors. There's a few ingredients, and I'll leave it at that. And I hope that we can focus
Let me ask you.
on
Let me
those
ask you a
kind of
question.
mindsets.
Let me ask you a question. You sound like an intelligent person. So for the fact that it can be so easy to have peace based on the things that you just said, because there's a big basic money play. What you're saying is, big money can be made and whatnot. What do you think the reason is? It has to be a reason so strong why there is not peace. Why do you think one group of people have that feeling that no matter what, it will not be peace? I want to know from you, what do you think that reason is, sir?
That's a great question. I've studied a number of countries, and one of the problems is that the leadership, you need good faith actors and leadership with vision, right? When you have like a
Okay,
lot
okay,
of
okay, okay,
a
okay,
lot
okay,
of
okay.
countries
Wait,
that
wait,
have a
wait, wait.
military perspective
Sir,
to
sir, do me a favor.
things.
Sir, do me a favor, because you're kind of
Go
like
ahead.
you kind of sound like you're at a presidential summit the way you're speaking right now. So what I'm saying is this: you heard the question. Why do you think one group of people are so strong against what's going on? What do you think the reason is? Do you think it's justified what the Palestinians feel about what's going on with that land from back in the day? Do you think it's justified with how much was given to the Jews and whatnot? Or do you think that's the main reason, or do you think it's just because they don't have good leadership?
Okay, I think I understand where you're getting at. Right now, most of the cards are with, let's say, in the past 20 years, most of the cards are with Netanyahu. The Palestinians don't have much to play with. They're not in a position of power or strength to be able to negotiate something from their side. But on the flip side, the Netanyahu regime or the Israelis do hold many of the cards. They have a lot more leverage. Um, the individuals, there are extremist elements that have basically hijacked, in that case, on both sides, you could say that, one causing the other, has hijacked that narrative and pursuing a zero sum game. If you're able to marginalize these groups and bring in people who do have vision, who do want to pursue peace, then you can pursue and have something like that. But at the moment, you need to be able to marginalize these extremist elements who are thinking of it from a zero sum game. I hope that answers
Okay,
the question.
no, that was a very good answer. Appreciate that. Okay, all right, very good answer. Anybody else want to jump in? Feel free to jump in.
Just one last thing. The one thing that Tawab is right about is I think all of us are desperate for peace and equality among Jews, Muslims, and Christians in the Middle East. We work on it day and night. Whichever country I'm in, we work on protecting Jewish minorities, Christian minorities. This is what we do day in, day out. Some of us work on democracy building, on the fourth estate, on building. And I've done all of these things. There's not a Palestinian. I haven't met a Palestinian who isn't the first person when they hear something anti-Semitic, they're the first people to say, no, 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 that's not us. It's not us. You know, if you speak to Palestinians, you've spoken to Faraz so many times. How many times has he said, we just want to be neighbors and partners in this country? These people are desperate for peace and recognition and equality. It's not, and to be recognized as humans. You know, this is what people want. If for decades and generations, we all know what it's like. I know what it's like as a South African to have people dehumanize you because you're not part of the right race. Yeah. And it is dehumanized. They've gone through it for decades. All they're asking. And they haven't turned to violence. They're not violent people. You see all the videos, the brutality, the torture. You see things like the babies today dying in incubators. People mock me because I get emotional about it. Of course, you get emotional about it. How can you not? All they want is peace with Jews. They don't want to exile Jews. They want to, like, I grew up in a Jewish community in North London, you know, and like literally their kids would be babysat by my parents, right? It's not the case that we hate Jews. It's literally the case that we want to end the occupation and live in peace and security across the region. In all these countries, it will end terrorism. Trust me, because Palestinians will be able to be free because they're living in refugee camps. I've been to these camps, guys, in multiple countries, and you live and you see the conditions. They're not allowed to entitled to the same protections, the work, nothing. They live in states of like second class citizens wherever they are. They can't travel easily. They can't visit their families. That they're hunted, they're persecuted, they get doxxed. It's a horrible life for anyone. You know, there's 8 million Palestinians around the world who are homeless. And it's not that they're demanding land back. They just want to be recognized as human. So when they're calling out against a Jewish state, it's not because they're calling out against Jews, it's because they're calling out a state that doesn't see them as equal, a state that doesn't recognize you. If it's their own state, whether or not it's one state or two states, that's for them to decide. They can decide that through a political process. But when Netanyahu today, he said, you've got to re-elect me because I'm the only one who can prevent a Palestinian state from happening. Why does he say that? Because he wants to continue the land grabs. There's this amazing Twitter account called Visualizing Palestine, and it will show you the maps over, I think it's like 90% of Palestinian land that has been taken, you know, just like South Africa. And I'm telling you, Wallahi al-Azim, people will literally line up to go
I
to
think,
school, to work with, to be friends with, to befriend, to marry Jews
yeah.
in Israel,
I
in
got a question
Palestine,
for
if
Yeah,
you.
they're given that
Nelson, where are you
chance.
at?
Can
Jonathan,
I jump in, please? May I, Nelson?
Nelson, are you there?
This
Jonathan,
is
We're waiting to go. You guys have spoken. Give
Oh
us
yeah,
your
I
I,
wasn't
I
chance.
speaking
have
anymore
I'd like
today.
Wait,
to
time out.
I
Who's
wasn't speaking
all
anymore.
right. I'd like
All
to
right, guys, one mic.
I'd like
who,
to
I need
who's
to
looking for
respond to
Nelson?
all this.
What's the lady looking for
Jonathan,
Nelson?
Jonathan, please.
One second, guys.
Habiba.
Hold on.
One mic, guys. We're going to go to Tuesday. Go ahead, Tuesday.
Oh, thank you so much, Jonathan.
Your name's
Okay.
not Yehuda today.
One second.
It's
I
close.
can't have two Palestinian speakers go back to back. Yehuda, jump in. Let's go.
So
I can drop out, brothers.
no,
I think
stay
you should
here. I
stay,
want you
Habib,
to
until
listen
you
to
listen to
this.
what I have to say, by the way.
No,
Yeah.
I want
Yeah,
to
what
drop
we have
out
been
because
seeing,
I don't want to
what we
make
have
Do
been
it.
seeing unfolding right now
Hold on.
in
I've
real
had
time.
my hand
Sphinx,
up for
please.
an
Sphinx,
hour.
please. This is important.
No,
Sphinx,
you don't get to
Sphinx,
silence
please.
me
No, no, no.
because you're a
Sphinx, this
man.
is important, by
No,
the way.
no, no,
Oh,
no,
for fuck's
M.
sake.
No, no,
Thanks. I'm
no,
coming.
M.
One second. Go ahead. Yehuda.
I yield my time. No, I yield my time to M if he'd like it, because he's my brother.
All right. Am, jump in and I'll go to Sphinx.
What
Let's
we
go.
have been seeing unfolding in real time right now is two things. The first one is the playbook that I have been talking about for 6 weeks. So Hamas or the other militant factions, they go on and they attack, and then they provoke a retaliation, and then they launch an offensive information operation in the information space, hoping to achieve political concessions. In what world are you supposed to kill 1,400 people or 1,200 people or 1,000 people and then say, we will graciously accept your acceptance to allow us to go into your state and become citizens with equal rights and equal blah, 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 so that we can change the composition of the state later on. What we're seeing here is the same Turkish model that has been happening in the Middle East for the last 12 years. What we're seeing here is a very slow, long-term subversion plan that focuses on offensive influence operations in the cyberspace and in the information space. And the structured communications campaign that has been going on for weeks right now has certain themes that caters to the emotions and the psyche of the American voter. It plays on identity politics, it plays on the themes of freedom, equality, and we can parachute a model from South Africa, we can parachute a model from Ireland, we can do this, we can do that. You know what? This will not fly. No sovereign nation is going to reward a non-state actor who thinks, or their calculus is, our path to nationhood and statehood, whether through for a two-state solution or a one-state solution, goes through Jewish blood or Israeli blood. No one is going to reward you for that. And people understand exactly the kind of arguments that have been fielded here for the last weeks. And now, thank God, finally, after 6 weeks of dancing, like Nelson says, the true ugly face of this campaign has finally showed itself tonight.
Now, I mean, listen, M is definitely he's breaking it down. I mean, he's breaking it down, you know. But before we go to today, let me go to Sphinx real quick. Sphinx, let's talk about it.
Okay, first of all, I want to say some of you Middle Eastern men got to realize we don't live in the fucking Middle East, all of us. Okay? So don't talk over me when I'm talking. Number one. Number two, we are aligned on one issue, and that's it.
The America motherfuckers, let's go.
That's it. All right. Number three, I want to say the woman on Clubhouse who was talking, she was actually very polite. I happen to disagree with everything she said, okay? Everything about Israel that she said, but I don't think she was a bad actor. And I don't think that was in good faith to attack her like that. I really don't. So my apologies to her on behalf of how about myself and anyone else. because that was outrageous to shame her. She was polite. She was nice. She was just wrong about stuff. There's no reason to shame her.
Hello,
Anyway,
everybody. Welcome
the point
to
I wanted to
product
make is
updates
this.
for Tuesday, November 28th.
Palestinians and
I hope
supporters
that
of
everyone here in
Palestinians,
the
I won't
U.S.
even
who
say
celebrated
Hamas.
Thanksgiving had
It's
a
been happening
wonderful
all night.
Thanksgiving,
They
and I
will
hope that everyone
advocate
had a
for
good
a
week. So
one-state
first, quick
solution.
reminder, next week we will...
And they're freedom fighters. They're right fighters. They're on the right side. But as soon as somebody says, oh yeah, I agree, one-state solution, and I'm pro-Israel, suddenly you're a killer, you're a murderer, you want to kill babies, you want to kill, how dare you, you're a racist. Why is that? Can someone explain that to me? Because you know what, I'm going to agree with the Palestinian friends on the stage here, and I'm going to say, I agree, one state solution, okay? Israel, it's going to be Israel, okay? It's going to be Israel, and y'all Palestinians just stop blowing shit up, okay? How's that? Why is it okay
Are
for
they gonna give
Palestinians to say it, but not okay for Israelis to say it? Why? Just tell me why is that okay?
Sphinx, let me ask you a question. Are you basically saying one Israeli state with no Palestinians and the Palestinians can go suck it? Is that what you're saying right now?
No. I'm saying an Israeli state with Palestinians, living with their rights, but not a two-state solution. People tonight have been saying,
That can never happen.
people tonight have been saying, but no, I'm just saying, people tonight have been saying on this other side have been saying, let's have a Palestinian state and whatever. You have no idea what rhetoric people receive when they hear this on the other side. The state will be controlled by Israel. People are out of their minds if they think that's not going to be the case. Okay? There's going to be a demilitarization after Hamas is taken out after this, whatever. So after October 7th, I mean, you can live in La La Land or you can live in reality. And there's no way that the Palestinians are going to have their own militia, okay? Your own airport, okay? I mean, go ahead. You can you can think like that and dream like that. And guess what? When Iran comes and helps, we're going to squash Iran like the fucking roach that it is, okay? Period.
Hey, can I clarify
Sphinx, I
something?
think they know better to get involved, to be honest.
One second. Let me get one mic real quick. Man, Sphinx coming out here dropping them goddamn bombs. Jerry, what's going on, man? Are you here right now?
Yeah,
Jerry,
I'm just listening to my brother. I'm just taking it in right now.
I need to ask you a question, man. I need to ask you a little question, bro. So, do you feel as though that, matter of fact, let me put it this way. Who do you think is at fault for what is going on today in that region specifically? Do you think it's the Palestinians? Do you think it's the Israelis? Like, well, how do you feel about it? Let's talk about it.
That's a deep question, Nelson. I can't believe you put me in a spot like that. That's a deep question.
Let's break it down, man. Let's break it down.
There's a lot of layers to that question. I haven't been keeping up as much, but what I did do is I did a little research on this, earlier, right? Because I just can't understand how humans can do what's going on right now. I'm talking about the on both sides. I can't understand how people can, kill little kids. And, I know there's casualties in war, but these people are just laying bombs and they don't care who the hell it hits. So I'm like, why are they doing this? It has to be something. Either these people are just devils, they're the recreation of Satan, or there's a cause behind it. I really want to know, Nelson. You feel me? I mean, it's one thing to talk about it. And it's another thing, like, let's do a little bit more deep research. And then I saw some peace talks. I was looking at it. I even went so far back from the president of Egypt. I can't remember the guy's name, but y'all know what I'm talking about, from the 50s or 40s or whatever. And this thing goes way back. And they came to an agreement, and it came to an agreement that they thought they were going to be able to seal. This is what I read up on. But I think Israel, they occupied a third of the country or the state or whatever, but they were being awarded almost 60% of the land. So just think about that for a second. Hey, Truth. Do you know what I'm talking about, Truth? Are you on stage?
Yeah, yes,
Truth?
yes, sir. I am.
Am I correct? Am I correct
That's
with
correct.
that?
Yes.
So how do you occupy?
Cap, bro.
You know,
Man,
what'd you say? What'd you say,
man,
Nelson?
I like this Jerry guy.
That boy true capping, man. But go ahead, Jerry. Go ahead.
But hold on a second though. So Nelson, so I'm doing a little research, and actually, when I was listening to you guys talk, I was actually doing more research because I really trying to figure out how can you be so fucking evil. But then I realized that when people have a cause, it can make them do shit that they normally wouldn't do, right? So from my take, from my view, what I'm researching, I'm going to say this because I know I got some of my friends in here that's Jewish or whatever. So I'll make it clear, so it can't be remixed. I think this whole thing is fucked up. If it's involving people dying, it's fucked up. But what's the reason why? What's the fucking reason why? You got a small group of people. This is a suicide mission, Nelson. You ain't gonna fucking be able to defeat Israel. It's a suicide mission. But I'm gonna tell you something else that messed it up.
But the
Nelson.
dumbasses did October 7th anyways, bro.
What'd you say?
Them dumbass motherfuckers did October 7th
That's
anyway.
because, Nelson, when you got a fucking cause, bro, it's almost life doesn't matter to you when you got a fucking cause. It's
Let me
bigger than
talk
life.
to this guy. I've been waiting for.
Hey, one second.
Wait,
Hey,
hold
Jerry,
on a second.
Come on.
Hey, bro.
Can I respond?
Jerry, that's crazy.
Can I
Hold
make
on
this fun?
Hey, bro.
Let Jerry finish.
Please, bro. All right, so look, Nelson. So another thing that I feel kind of made it a little worse, you got to be careful when you pick sides, okay? Especially when you're a big dog. The United States have to be careful. How many of y'all remember Iraq when we went in there for what? What was it for, Nelson? Weapons of mass fucking destruction? What did we go in there for? And what the fuck did we find? What did we go?
But
What
Jerry,
did we
that's
tell
not
these
why
fucking people?
you went in because of Israeli. That's not why we went in there, Jerry. Come on, buddy. That's not why we
What
went
I'm
in there.
saying,
That wasn't the start of why we went in there, Jerry.
No, all I'm saying.
Israeli
No, 1
intelligence,
second.
Jerry. That's why they went in.
Let me land for a second. All I'm saying is there was things that they talked about. The United States has been. Look, I love my country, right? But if we're gonna keep it real, see, Nelson, some of the people ain't gonna fucking keep it real. They're not gonna keep it real. The United States hands aren't squeaky clean with everything. So then when you go over there, you're basically siding with one group of people. You just got to be, Nelson, you could almost turn somebody into, I don't want to, I'm trying to tiptoe, Nelson. But bottom line is this. I'm going to say this one more time. The whole thing is fucked up. These are innocent people dying. I don't care what you are. I don't agree with that. But how about if we have a conversation? How about if we shift this a little bit and let's talk about why the fuck this is even happening? Why is
it happening, Jerry? You seem like you have all the fucking answers. Let's hear it.
Yeah, hey, Jonathan, I was talking to Nelson, please. I was talking to Nelson Epega. Nelson.
Can I answer this guy? I want to know why this is happening. Because you I was talking to you. You said something about the Egyptian president. I mean, what did you make that up? I mean, what
No,
was
he
that
was
about?
talking about Anwar Sadat. Go ahead, Jerry.
Bro, shut the mute your mic when you're on stage. Fuck. I mean, this motherfucker just got to pass after like come on stage and talk. Mute your goddamn mic, man.
Yeah, who is this dude? Okay, I got a question.
It's
I got a
Mo.
question.
It's Mo, Jerry.
I go to the goo. Go to the goo with your dumb ass. We'll see you next week. Jerry got.
I got a question. I got a question for the stage. What do you guys feel? Someone could answer this. What do you feel is the reason why the Palestinians are so fucking upset? Going back, let's go back a little further. Is there somebody on stage? And this is what Jonathan was talking to me about earlier. Jonathan and I was having a real intellectual conversation about this. Do you think,
bro, there's nothing intellectual in you and Jonathan's conversation, period.
Can I jump in?
You know what's so crazy? We were talking about you for 20 minutes, Nelson. So now.
So you're right.
I'd really like to answer.
Go ahead, Jerry. Wait, go ahead, bro. Go ahead, Jerry.
Wait, we got to go Israel, Palestine. Come on.
Go ahead, Jerry. What were you saying, Jerry?
What do you think the reason is why this group of small people they can get slaughtered so easily? What are they fighting so hard for, so passionate? This isn't no little sneak stuff. This is like, we know who you are. We know how to look you up, and you still doing that. What do you guys think the true
Can I
reasons?
give you the answer? Let me give him the answer for the love of
Bro,
God
no, it's
Almighty.
rhetorical, man. It's rhetorical. Mute your mic.
One mic on Yehuda. Yehuda, break it down. Break
Listen,
it down.
dude, Jerry. God damn it. I like Jerry, but I hate him. I think he's interesting, but confused. Jerry, you asked me a few questions the first time you spoke. You know what you said to me, Jerry? Can we go
Do me
back
one
and
favor,
forth?
brother. With all due respect, I just
Yep.
asked another different question. I'm not going back in history right now.
No, listen, it's not history. It's way back playback.
No, I'm
It's
talking
4
about
minutes.
history with my
It's a
last question.
rhetorical question.
Okay. Hey, Jerry, you said to me, why am I so mad? You know, remember that? You said, why am I so mad? You know, remember that? Can we go back and forth, Nelson, with your permission? It's your
Bro,
space.
blast this motherfucker, man. Break it. Come on, man.
I'm gonna
You
break
just
him
said a
up.
lot of bullshit.
I'm gonna,
You gotta break it down.
I know. Poor Jerry. Listen, Jerry seems like his heart's in the right place, but his brain's in a pickle jar. Listen, Jerry, there are some of us here. This isn't a joke. It's not like some little thing that happened to us. Some of us have lost family here, okay? That's not you. I'm talking about me, okay? Oh, someone's mic's on. Jonathan can do what he wants. King Jonathan.
Let me ask you a question before you proceed. Okay.
No, let me finish.
No. Let me
Let me
bro.
finish. You had
Bro.
your time.
Let me tell you something.
Nah, bro. No, let Jerry finish.
Hey, let me tell you something,
It's
bro.
me. It's Yehuda.
Hey, Yehuda, I don't care who you are. I'm telling you, let me finish.
It's not very nice. No, I was speaking.
No, listen, bro. Listen, just listen for a second.
For the love of Christ Almighty.
Bro, listen, this is important, Jonathan. Hey, bro, let me tell you something. When you have a conversation with me, don't frame stuff in a way like I'm some evil person saying I'm agreeing that this is fucked up. So when you say, listen, bro, just listen. When you say,
talking,
bro, mute your fucking mic.
Yeah, listen, dude, don't talk to me like that. You're not my
Jonathan,
dad. No, don't Jonathan. He's not your dad either.
Yehuda is so rude.
I was literally talking.
Yehuda, if you don't mute your mic, you're gonna take a nap.
You said I'm next, right? So
Yehuda,
this guy,
Jonathan,
dude,
put this fool in the audience, Jonathan.
Yeah,
put this dude in the audience.
Listen, I was speaking. Nelson gave me the mic, and when I'm done,
Nelson, co-host me for a second. Co-host me for a second, Nelson.
God.
Let me say this one more time. I'm gonna pass, bro. Let me say this one more time. I'm gonna pass it to you. Seriously, seriously, I'm gonna pass it to you. This is what I'm saying to you. This is what I'm saying. When you discuss something with me, don't frame it in a way like I'm not agreeing with this is wrong with the loss of lives. So when you say this is not a game, some of us has lost this and that, you're almost implying that I'm taking it the way it is. I don't agree with nothing with the loss of lives. If I could wave my hand like a magic wand, I would make this shit stop tomorrow. I don't like this shit at all. All I'm doing is saying go deeper than just what you're doing.
Thank
That's
you.
all I'm saying.
So this is where you and I diverge, okay? When I say to you that this isn't a joke to me, it means I've lost family. You haven't, okay? God bless you. You're enjoying your good life wherever you live. Amen, amen. Good for you. When you say the thing, you came at me and said, why am I so mad? Well, Jerry, let me ask you a question. It's a yes or no. Jerry there? Jerry, you got a first cousin?
What a stupid question.
Shut up. Do you have a first cousin? It's just humor me. You have a first cousin, maybe, right? Imagine your first cousin's name is.
Bro.
Let's say your first cousin is. Why are you even talking, Sphinx? Your first cousin. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Your first cousin's name is Jerry Malcolm, and your first cousin got. He's a nice guy. He went to go help some Palestinians on the side of the road, but they weren't Palestinian women like he thought they were. They were dudes dressed up, and they shot him in the face and cut off his penis. Would you think that's kind of a problem? And let's say their name was Hamas. So I just want to make it clear, I'm going to get a little vulnerable and personal. When you came at me and said, why am I talking about this, that, and the other? Frankly, it's okay. Hold on a second. When you come at me and say these things, I kind of laugh and go, you don't have any skin in the game. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like to bury your family.
Let me tell you something, bro.
No,
I'm
talking. No, bro.
Hey,
shut up.
Jerry,
no, he's fucking lying right now, Jonathan. That's not what I said. I said, why was he being rude to the young lady? I said, why was you being rude to the young lady? That's what I said.
I'm going to bounce.
No, he's Jonathan. I'm not gonna let this dude reframe this shit.
No, you
like
said
making
it.
shit up
It's
that I
on
didn't say.
record.
I know, but hold on one second because we got to let him land because I want you to attack his thing in full, just like he
Yeah,
you
but
in for
I'm
it.
not going to let
No,
him come with
just
bullshit that I
dude,
didn't
shut
say.
up, man. Grow up. You
Hey,
don't get
hey,
the mic.
Jonathan.
No,
Jonathan.
don't hate
Yeah.
Jonathan. He's not your
Yeah.
dad.
All
Let
right,
me
God
finish.
damn.
Jonathan.
Yeah,
Jerry.
honestly.
Seriously.
Like, listen.
Listen. Okay,
The
I'll tell
guy
you
might
what.
be a nice guy.
Hold
I'll
on,
tell
hold
you
on,
what.
hold on. Yehuda. Okay, hold up. Jerry, let's let Yehuda land. Okay, then I want you to go and respond. Okay,
Okay.
we're gonna do
Thank
one
you.
mic from both Jerry and Yehuda. That's how because I think that they
No,
down
it's
in the back
honestly,
channel.
listen, I respect you, Nelson, but this is too much. This guy's been interrupting me every time I open my
Jonathan, I'm
mouth.
not going to allow a person to
Just
come with
shut
bullshit
up,
lie.
for the love of
One
God,
second,
man.
Jerry's a co-host with us
Okay,
for a
that's
while.
fine.
So, yeah.
Okay, but you guys invite me up here to speak and you
Of
cut
course,
me off.
Yehuda. Go ahead, Yehuda. Go ahead.
Okay,
Go
thank
ahead.
you. Uninterrupted.
He's like
So,
APEC up in here. He interrupts everyone else.
Joe, listen, go to your KKK rally. Listen, Jerry, the bottom line is there are people here that have experienced things that you haven't, okay? So when you speak to us with such a tone and you judge us and say, why are you upset? Why are you talking? I made it clear that there were words that were spoken by the previous individual, and I treat a man and a woman the same. They're not weaker than me. They can handle what I have to say. So, for the record, I have a problem when people degrade and minimize the death of Jewish people, especially if they're related to me. That's just me. Call me tribal, that's fine. I accept that. Now, you made a bunch of comments where you said, you made a good point. No one wants to die, no one wants to see death. But at the end of the day, on the 7th of October, okay, when there was no violence before that, there wasn't any like hundreds of people, thousands of people crossing thousands of people crossing a border and murdering people. It happened on the 7th of October. And when that happened, the Israelis had to respond. Now, I can guarantee you, if you have a wife and kids and they were held hostage in a building filled with terrorists, that you would want the police to go and save them, help them out. The fact that you kind of dismiss 100 years of abuse, and guess what?
Abused by the Israelis, by the way, by the Israelis. But continue, Yehuda. We love your
Thank
fucking
you for your
monologue.
permission. I really needed it. So
Yeah,
when you
no,
have
I'm
100
sure. You
years
go
of
on your
abuse by
monologue
a
like you're the
majority
host of this
people
channel.
in the Middle East who happen to listen, guys, if you don't enforce the one mic, I can't speak. I'm sorry. Like
Well, then shut the
HK,
fuck up then, bro.
Booter or
Who is
whatever.
this dude,
So when you
Jonathan?
have 100 years of abuse
Yeah, no, seriously.
by a
HK
dominant
only
culture
is
that
Hey,
only
oppresses
here
guys,
to
let him
individuals
land.
in the
interrupt.
Let him
Middle
land.
East.
And Yehuda, stop
All
responding
right,
to everyone, please. And everyone else, stop jumping
Okay,
in.
I'm good to go. Thanks, Jonathan. If you want to fucking hold water for people interrupting,
No,
that's your thing.
wait,
It's your
bro,
space, bro.
Yehuda, I
Your
just told
space,
everyone.
bro. Thanks,
Oh,
man.
One second. I just told
Jonathan,
everyone to mute out.
Nelson, bro. Yo, this is me. All right, everybody mute the fuck out. All right, let's get one mic on Yehuda real quick. Yehuda, jump in.
When people keep talking about the death of Jews as a like kind of a bit of a side story, I'm not saying Jewish life is more important than other life, but when you guys sit here and openly say it's kind of okay what Hamas did because they've had a bad go and the Palestinians are this and that and the other, you're not serious. People don't take you seriously. They don't respect your perspective because you're not being consistent. I, on the other hand, say I abhor the loss of life on either side. I blame Hamas for the death of civilians because they're hiding behind women and children. I also attack Benjamin Netanyahu. I hate the guy. I think he's a horrible prime minister. I think he blocked peace at every step and corner. But he's only been around for 15 years in terms of prime ministership. The reality is there's 100 years of history here. So when you talk about rights and humanity and colonialism, I come from a tradition of people that come from the Middle East who are Jews who have been oppressed by the dominant culture, and unfortunately that it is what it is, the Arab Muslim culture. So when I hear people from America who have no idea what they're talking about, no concept of anything, and they say, well, it's kind of like two sidesism and this and that, you have to understand, I'm going to push back on you because we have experienced that. And I would never take away from Americans who've experienced racism or anyone in the world. But why is it that you don't grant us the same understanding? Jews don't have a right to be persecuted. We don't have a right to fight back against colonialism and oppression and racism. And this is why your argument falls on deaf ears. I think you're a nice guy because, Jonathan and Nelson know you, but I think you got it wrong, brother. That's all I got to say.
All right. You have it all. I don't know what you were listening to when I was speaking because you definitely remixed it. I don't know what it does for you to try to I don't know what you're trying to gain by remixing a story for this Twitter audience. I don't know what it does for you. I'm going to repeat this one more time. It's a terrible thing that's going on, right? But when someone is not part of it, they can look at it in a more neutral way. And you have no idea where I come from, what my exact nationality is, you know, if I have any Jewish friends or family, you have no idea. So for you to make that statement, you know, you shouldn't do that. That's just assuming. But if you talk to some Palestinians, they're going to speak completely different than you. There's two sides to the story. You have to understand that. And you're just pointing it out from your set of lenses. But when I say statements like that, you try to imply that I'm agreeing with what's going on. It's terrible. But don't think for 1 second that it's not terrible things happen to Palestinian people also. I'm seeing those videos also. I'm seeing those footage on both ends. Don't think that some of their children aren't being killed and held hostage and shot in the head. So you got to look at it. So why don't you look at this in a way where you can look at it from both sides and just say it's terrible. It's not just about you and your people. It's about every fucking body. It's about all parties involved. It's not just about your loss. What about the other mother who lost their kid? What about the other cousin who lost their first cousin? That's what I'm trying to say. This whole thing is fucked up, bro. You're making it all about. You're making it all about. Bro, mute your mic.
No, relax. You're not that. Just relax. I'm agreeing
bro,
with
bro,
you.
listen,
You're
John,
right.
listen, bro. I let
me.
you talk. Who the fuck is this dude? I let you talk.
Yeah, mute your mic. Mute your mic.
All right.
It sounds stupid,
Nelson,
right?
This
Nelson,
is
like
so
you.
rude,
I can't wait till
Nelson.
tomorrow.
Yeah, it sounds like you.
Hey, enjoy your few moments on this stage. Enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, enjoy it. But so let me say this one more time.
Yeah, dude, you know what's really stupid about what you're saying?
Bro,
Is you
let
keep
me
talking.
Yehuda,
Like,
let him finish. We had him listen first.
Let me finish.
But he interrupted me 50 times, right?
John, bro, mute your mic. Now listen, let me say this.
Mute your mic. Why are you talking to me like you're my boss?
Let me, because I am your
equals.
boss. Since you said it, I am your boss.
Bro, you're equal. You're equal, John.
Right.
Jerry.
Hey, you call me your boss. I'm just agreeing with you, bro. You said it, so I'm
I said
agreeing
you're
with
not my boss, dude.
But if you're going to put it out in the universe, you must feel that I am your boss. So I'll accept
Hey
that.
guys, let's get back on. Let's get back on.
Fucking 5
let's
years
get back.
old.
Yehuda, let's come on. Let's come on.
Now let me say this one more time. I'll make it clear. This is a terrible thing that's going on both sides. It's terrible. But until you could have some type of neutral understanding from both sides, it can't just be about, oh, this group of people is so bad and this, that. Let's try to really dig deep and figure out, why is this group of people so fucking bad? When somebody goes against a mission where it's almost guaranteed destruction, it has to be a reason. What is that fucking reason? What are they trying to make some money? What are they jacking somebody to pay? What is it? So that's what I'm saying. So let's take
radical Islamic terrorism.
Exactly.
It's not unique to Palestine. It's not unique to Israel. That is what makes people act in such horrendous ways to follow such horrific ideology.
Can I ask you something, Jerry? How many Israelis have gone into
bro,
Palestine?
do me a favor. I'm having a conversation with a lady.
You're not. You're barely having a conversation with yourself. Let me ask you something. How many Israelis have jumped into Gaza and cut people's heads off? How many people? How many? How many Jews have gone into Gaza and cut the heads off babies? How many? Do you know the answer, Jerry?
How many Palestinians have cut off the heads of babies, you dumb fuck? No one.
I'm not.
Zero.
Listen.
Shut up with your lies, Yehuda.
I have a pickle.
Lies.
Listen, HK, I have a pickle jar
Yehuda,
where you
let's
can
go
go
one-on-one
to.
right now.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's go one-on-one.
I have a pickle jar.
Mute out real quick. Everybody, mute out. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to the goddamn show. I will officially be moderating this motherfucker moving forward. Okay, so we're gonna do this right now. I want to get HK in. Matter of fact, actually not. Let's go to Joa. HK, you just jump in, man. Put your hands up like everybody else. Joa, jump in.
Nelson, can I jump in?
Hell to the motherfucking no, man. One mic on Joa. Joa,
I've been waiting, and I haven't said a fucking word.
I've been here before you, Joa, but I'll wait.
Thank you, Tuesday. Look, why does Biden want to sanction the settlers, Yehuda?
Am I allowed to talk now, or Jerry?
Yeah, I asked you a direct question. Just
listen. Let me give you guys a pro tip, okay? especially if you've been waiting for so long to grab the goddamn microphone, right? Here's a tip. Very simple, very easy, right? You've been waiting for 1 hour to grab the goddamn mic. You literally have maybe 5 to 10 minutes at the very most to get it off, right? Do not spend your 5 or 10 minutes asking another motherfucker a question, okay? Because chances are you're probably going to trigger that motherfucker and they're going to reduce your mic time by arguing with you. Therefore, the initial point you were trying to make will probably not be made till the next day, right? Because we have 50 people at all times wanting to get on stage. That's just a pro tip for everybody that gets on these stages. Okay, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Joe, jump in.
Appreciate it. Look, Biden wants to sanction the settlers because of all the illegality they do, the illegal occupation of the West Bank, the fact that they kill Palestinians, the fact that they burnt kids, and the fact that IDF is actually supporting them. And then someone like Fierce, who lives in the West Bank, who gets stripped naked in front of his family and other people in line to get through a fence and is fucking dehumanized. Yehuda sits here and demeans the guy on top of it instead of having some fucking sympathy. And then he acts like he's a fucking angel and like, oh, I care about all the people and the civilians. No, you don't. This guy goes through hell every fucking day, and you sit here and just add to it. Do you understand? Like, I know you agree that the settlers aren't doing the right thing. I know you agree that the IDF shouldn't be supporting the settlers in the West Bank. That is a fucking problem. Now, we can disagree about Gaza. I think Gaza is occupied. I think the March of Return showed that it's occupied because they targeted doctors and nurses and paramedics and press that was way beyond the buffer zone. And they control the water and the food way before October 7th. And there's a fucking problem, right? And if you look back, and one of the bigger problems is the story that has been told, and I actually agree with Sphinx. I only think a one-state solution will work. Do I think Israelis will agree to it? No, I don't think they will. I think most Palestinians probably won't agree to it either. But that's actually the only solution that works, because if it's a two-state, they need to be able to protect their own borders, and Israel will never let them do that. So a one-state solution is the only thing that can happen. Do I think that'll happen? Unfortunately, I don't. I don't know the fucking answer anymore.
Not
we
even
should have some fucking
Fair
sympathy
enough.
with people here.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
but you know what? Let's have a conversation about that, right? Let's shift let's shift the topics, right? I want to talk about I want to talk about this, right? What does everyone see or perceive the end result of this conflict to be, right? Is it a one-state solution? Is it a two-state solution? Is it Gaza being blown off the face of the fucking earth? Like, what is the end result? Because here's the deal, right? Option one state solution, never gonna fucking happen. Get it out of your heads right now, right? Unless Palestinians are second-class citizens, then it just might happen, right? There's no one state Israel where Palestinians have equal rights as Israelis. That will never fucking happen in our lifetimes. We will all be dead and fucking gone before that ever happens. And even then, it still might not happen. Okay. So one state solution, throw it in the fucking trash. All right. What's the next option? Two-state solution. Listen, okay. I've never heard of a state on this planet that doesn't have its own military, right? That doesn't have its own whatever, right? Here's the deal. Bottom line.
There's like 15, Nelson. There's like 15.
No. I mean, what state doesn't have its own military?
Andorra, Liechtenstein, San Marino. There are a lot of states that don't have their own
There
military.
we go. So a two-state solution is plausible then.
It is.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about it. Break it down, Yehuda, and I want to go to somebody else.
Dude, listen. The best thing that an independent Palestinian state could have is Israel as its bodyguard, right? I mean, if there was a confluence of values and ideals where Israelis and Palestinians, so Israelis within Israel, 1967 boundaries, and Palestinians with a thriving, technical IT-based economy in the West Bank and Gaza, they could be a powerhouse of the Middle East. I actually had a very conspiratorial view as a teenager that, and it's not true that the British and the Americans wanted to put down the Middle East, but I can tell you one thing. With Israeli, Palestinian, Arab, Saudi oil, Israeli technology, that the Middle East could become a power block bigger than the EU. right? You got people that have skin in the game; they're into it. I don't think that anymore because I grew up. But I'll tell you one thing: that the Palestinians and the Israelis have a great opportunity and potential to be an amazing combo. The only problem is education. It's about the rearing of the children, right? Israelis in the 80s and 70s were not taught what Israelis of the 90s and the aughties, like the early 2000s, and were taught. Israelis have been taught how the Palestinians view the creation of the state of Israel, and that's a big deal. It's a huge change. It happened in the late 90s, and what didn't happen was a similar view. In fact, it was retrograde in the Palestinian Authority and in Gaza. Unfortunately, Palestinian children were taught not that the Israelis are there, they're your neighbors, they're your friends. They actually were taught all this weird effed up shit about eschatological things, that the Jews are the descendants of apes and pigs, and then we have to kill them, and blah blah blah. And there's the problem. So what I envision for a two-state solution is where Palestinian children, Arab children, in Gaza, in the West Bank, are taught, look, we come from a conflicted world. We come from two people that want the same piece of land. We've adopted and accepted that there will be a compromise where the Jews will live where they live. They've built a big country, good for them. And we need to build that same thing up, and they want to help us. And I think that on balance, that there are many people that don't want to see that happen. But I think, surprisingly, in the Arab world, from the Gulf states to Egypt and the Maghreb, North Africa, there are people that have said enough's enough. Like, this is so stupid. We're fighting over stupid shit. Let's make it work. So I personally think that if we could set aside all this historical nonsense and say, look, the Jews have a claim, the Jews have grievances against Arab countries, the Arabs of Palestine have grievances against Israel, but let's chalk it up to a wash and say, let's just move forward, because you can't reinvent the past. You can't fix what happened in the past. All you can do is make the future better, and that's why I keep fighting. And Nelson, I'll keep coming onto your spaces every goddamn day, and I will keep talking to anyone who will listen. The only way we can do this is to make the world a better place by working together. So today, someone with no skin in the game should give me a thumbs down. Zero skin in the game, from Ethiopia, not Jewish, not Muslim, just talking a bunch of smack. These people are actually the threats and the obstacles to peace. They don't have skin in the game. We are here, where I have more Palestinian friends than 20, like half the room. We can make it happen. We just need to believe in ourselves. We need to keep fighting for equality. We need to keep fighting for education. We need to keep fighting for a two-state solution. There'll never be a one-state solution. There'll be a two-state solution with Palestinians with a Palestinian Arab flag flying over Al-Aqsa Mosque, with the Jewish Israeli flag flying over the Western Wall. It doesn't matter. It's just land. It's not worth your kids' lives. And any of you people here who are laughing and giggling at me, you never fought in a war, you never shot anybody, you never got shot at. So you're talking a lot of crap. And at the end of the day, I believe in my Palestinian brothers and sisters. We're going to make it through. We're going to pass through that finish line, Nelson. And I love all of you. Thanks.
HK.
That's a prime example.
HK. Go ahead and respond. Break it down.
Break it down. I almost believed you, Yehuda, but the fact that you start this on October 7 means that you're not a humanitarian, because you ignored every time Israel has bombed Gaza before October 7. Just in May this year, did Hamas break through? Why did they bomb them then? You act like Hamas, and the fact that you said that we're taught to hate from a young age, that's bullshit. They're not taught. They're actually one of the most educated people. And you can say both sides, that Israelis are also taught to hate. We can both say that. That's a load of shit. The fact is, I'm sure most Israelis, Yehuda, and most Palestinians want to live in peace. However, there's something called occupation. Palestinians don't have equal rights, Yehuda. So there's a cause and effect. They don't just wake up one day and say, oh, hey, I'm going to go throw a rocket. I'm going to go launch a rocket, which is more like a firecracker, because let's be honest, those rockets don't do shit. But it's called cause and effect, where you've got Israeli settlers from Brooklyn, from Jersey, coming into the West Bank, living on land that belongs to the Palestinians. That doesn't sound like peace to me, Yehuda. So again, what is your solution? And I mean that 100% legitimately. I'm speaking to you, person to person. Please. Give me
Yehuda,
a
can you
response to that.
give her an answer in under 60 seconds? I need to go to another speaker. Under 60
It's so
seconds.
funny because Yehuda just gave exactly his solution, so she must not have been listening, but interesting.
Hello,
She's always listening
Italians.
enough. She's always
Progressive,
listening
lesbian. Oh my
enough
god.
to
But
interrupt
when the
him.
whole thing was full
Oh,
of
interesting.
shit, that's why I'm
Homophobia.
challenging it.
That's new. I haven't
Yeah,
encountered that on this
homophobia.
stage
What's
yet.
Ladies,
Let
Okay,
me know
cool.
if I'm a lesbian or not,
ladies,
Talon.
Cool. Very
ladies,
cool.
I don't have time for a fucking cat fight.
Nelson, can
Respect.
someone else give a perspective, please?
Why
I
is
want
Gal
exactly
Gadot
that.
and Angelina Jolie in this space though? Like, are they? Do you have celebrities in here? Like, I'm gonna get their autograph right now.
Listen, Jihadi, don't worry about
I'm
Angelina
shell shocked because Gal
Jolie,
Gadot and
you
Angelina
follow
Jolie are in
all the
here. I'm like,
terrorists.
wow,
One second. Calm down real quick.
stage,
What do you say, man? All right, let me meet you out real quick so you can hear my question. What did you say? Go ahead and unmute. What's your answer? What did you say? I didn't hear you.
Are you speaking to me, Nelson?
HK.
Nelson, hello.
Let's talk about
My
it.
question was, I'm just shell shocked that Gal Gadot and Angelina Jolie are in here. I was like, shit, I needed to get their autographs.
Tell Khaleesi to shut the fuck up.
Who's Khaleesi?
Man, HK, you a little comedian or something
Your
like that?
handler who hates stealth. She can go
No,
fuck herself.
Nelson, comedians are funny.
Yeah, I was about to say because the joke ain't joking. You know what I'm saying? I was just keeping it real.
Is Yehuda going to respond, or do we want
Joking.
one of the other 50,000 Zionists in here to respond to me?
I'll respond
we'll
anytime.
definitely
Don't
get a
worry.
Zionist for you. We'll get a Zionist for you. It's all good. Sadeh, jump in, please. Talk about it.
Thank you, Nelson. Responding to M and Yehuda, especially Yehuda when he's saying, I do not have no skin in the game, that's a saying he said. Basically, what they want me to do is become a bystander when a genocide is happening. It's very strange because for years they're teaching us they're lecturing us every year, marking never again the Holocaust, teaching us about how
Holocaust again.
people.
Today,
Can I please
stop with the
finish? Can I
Holocaust.
please finish? Okay.
No, I'm not going to stick around if you're going to do the Holocaust.
So do not expect me to be a bystander when a genocide is happening. That's my number one point. My second point is when you use Ethiopians as PR, I'm gonna stand on Palestinian side, and they can use me as an Ethiopian as well. By the way, I do have Jewish ancestry.
You do not.
The same way you claim to have a Jewish ancestry. Just because
No,
you're
listen,
from
she's
Ukraine,
lying. She's lying.
you have no right to deny my Jewish ancestry.
You don't have Jewish
by
ancestry.
the way, there is a precedence to this, guys. Did you know that when Israel was created in 1948, they denied that Ethiopians were Jews? They made them wait 30 years before they gave an official declaration. Okay, finally we will accept Ethiopians as Jews. When was the date? 1973. For 3 decades, they were debating if black people could be Jews. So this is what he did. When he said that I have no skin in the game, he has the right to claim his Jewish ancestry, but I, a black Ethiopian, I have no claim to having Israeli ancestry. Correct? That's what you did. I'll go
No,
to.
that's not what.
I'm not going to talk about Ethiopia
Today's
anymore. I'll go to my next
father
point. Just shut up.
murdered Jewish
Shut up,
black
Yehuda.
people.
It's my turn.
Today's father
My
murdered
third
black
point.
Jews. Today's father murdered black
Nelson, you
Jews.
asked the question.
Today's father murdered black Jews.
Oh my
That's
God,
what he
this guy.
did. Yeah,
you know
that's what
he's first of all it's pure
How many
fabrication
Jews? How many
because you
Jews
want to
did your
deflect
dad
the
kill?
topic.
How many Jews did your dad
I've
kill?
dealt with fascists. I
You
know
have
how you
never
guys
dealt.
work.
You're a racist.
Just shut up. It's my turn.
Today pretended
Nelson,
to
can
be
I
a Jew
finish
on
my
the.
point, please?
Today
I've been
pretended
listening
to be.
quietly when he was
Today.
talking. You can use your emoji buttons
I
to
just
respond to me.
I just accidentally fucked up. Okay. All right, go ahead. Sadeh,
Thank you, Nelson. So, to answer your question, what's the solution? I want to remind you of Bob Marley's song, "Until the philosophy which hold one race superior and another inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned, everywhere is war." So until you give them justice, until you consider them as equal citizens, they're going to resist you. And anybody, if I were Palestinian, if I were born Palestinian, I would resist any person, any people claiming to be superior and claiming to, that I do not have right to my own ancestral land. So war is the solution until they abandon Zionism, which is a supremacist, racist ideology. There's no other option until they abandon the supremacist, racist ideology. My third point. It's funny that I don't listen to the types of Yehuda and the rest of them here. I listen to Holocaust survivors. For example, just today on Piers Morgan show, the Hungarian Canadian physician Gabor Mate, who is a Holocaust survivor, he proposed a solution. Do you know what his solution was? He said that this cannot go on. The land should be returned to Palestine. And he even added that in the absence of historical awareness, it all just looks like Israel is defending itself. But against whom? So he's appealing to people to ask the question, why are Palestinians resisting? What happened to them? He goes on. This is what he says today. He said this on Piers Morgan today. I used to be a Zionist until I found out that the state was founded based on the expulsion and multiple massacres of the local population. That's what he said today. My last final point. They claim that when we speak against genocide or Palestinians or pro-Palestinians, are anti-Semitic, but they're in bed with the most anti-Semitic entities, which are called the Christian Zionist lobby, the Christians United for Israel. They are the most anti-Semitic lobby group that exists in this world. They have over 10 million followers. Every year, personalities such as Netanyahu, Pompeo, Pence, you name it, big names in the US attend their meetings. These Christians and the pastors, they believe that the establishment of Israel and the occupation and colonization of Palestinian land is a fulfillment of biblical prophecy and the necessary precursor to the return of Jesus Christ.
10
They
seconds.
believe that before there's an Armageddon, they'll be raptured. They believe that they want the Jews to gather, even though they know that something bad is going to happen to them. They don't care about them. They believe that they need them to be gathered. They don't believe in
All
the
right, it's
two-state
so
solution.
dumb.
Hold on.
Brian,
Let me finish. I'm almost done.
That's what I'm going to start doing for all you guys. Now, moving forward, every single one of you guys, you start putting me on a goddamn flight to the middle of nowhere, I'm going to land. Matter of fact, crash that goddamn plane. That goes for everybody, by the way. That's my new rule. Moving forward, pro-Palestinian speakers, pro-Israeli speakers, beware. If you take Nelson on a long fucking flight, he's going to land your bitch ass plane. Okay. Now let's go to Tally. Let's go.
Can I land my plane? I didn't know, Nelson.
Bro, he crashed it for you.
I didn't hear you. I thought it was Yehuda talking. Sorry.
You spoke for
all right.
9 hours.
Wait. I think it's fair. Now, I think it's fair. I'll toss it back to you, but now you know the new rule. Once you hear that countdown, we gone.
The Christian Zionists, they do not want a two-state solution. They insist on having just one state for Jews only. So they're part of the bigger problem. At the end, I want to quote a Palestinian influential intellectual that was assassinated by the Mossad. His name is Hassan Kanafani. He said, it's a kind of conversation between the sword and the neck. And this is what you see here happening on the stage. Yehuda and them, they represent the sword. The Palestinians
blah.
are the neck.
Okay.
Thank you, Nelson.
Such a
I
terrorist.
appreciate you, Yehuda. Hold on 1 second. Let's go to Tally. Tally, respond to it. Let's talk about it.
Okay, there's been so much said by so many esteemed speakers that it's hard for me to remember everything. I'll start taking notes after I go this round. I want to go back to the anecdote about, I think maybe Firas or someone who is subjected to various checkpoints throughout his day to get to and from where he needs to go. This is true. No one denies the fact that Palestinians have limited movement in the West Bank, obviously even more so in Gaza. But this, as everyone loves to say, this didn't happen in a vacuum. This is not because Israel is evil and wants to have to, have soldiers standing by throughout the country. This is because of the intifadas that led to hundreds of deaths of Israelis, Jews and Arabs and international Israelis alike, and thousands of deaths of Palestinians. When these walls that people talk about went up, when these checkpoints went up, the violence was reduced by over 90%. Before that, people were coming through and blowing up buses, blowing up pizzerias, ramming their cars into people, blowing up nightclubs, stabbing people in the streets. Now, if anyone was paying attention before October 7th, this still happens, of course. We still, every month or so, will have a Palestinian who tries to stab a Jew in the middle of the street or who rams their car into them on the side of the road. But it decreased significantly when these security checkpoints went into place. And so this type of context is necessary because it's what keeps this problem so intractable. If you paint one side as purely the victim and you ignore all of the events that have led to the current situation, you're not helping them. You're no friend of theirs, especially if you believe that the other side actually has so much power. Then you need to acknowledge the realities on the ground. People who are calling for a one-state solution are either arguing that it should be taken by force, by a war, that I would argue Israel is unlikely to lose. Because we've seen this before. We saw this in 1948 and we saw different iterations of it since then. Or you are saying that Israel is going to somehow suspend its government, cede its authority and sovereignty over the land to create a new government. That obviously is not going to happen. And so this is unrealistic, and you are calling for more violence ultimately when this is what you talk about. With regards to education within the West Bank and Gaza, the individual who said that they're not taught to hate Jews, a quick Google search will tell you this, including everyone's favorite organizations like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch. We've seen the textbooks. There have been calls for reforms of these textbooks and these courses for years, over a decade, in UN schools, unfortunately. That's how they were able to get their hands on this information. The UN has condemned this specifically. It is true that Palestinians living in the West, Palestinians in the diaspora, are among the most educated of the Arabs, of Middle Easterners. They are of the most successful, financially successful. All of this is true. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for the Palestinians living in the West Bank and living in Gaza. And that's a fucking tragedy. And to Yehuda's point, what we really should be doing is working together so that all of these people who are not going anywhere can thrive and live in some type of peace and harmony. Gosh, I had more things to respond to, but that's all I can remember for now, Nelson. I hope you'll come back to me when I
I was
put my
about to
hand
hit
back
you with
up.
that countdown right now.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Nine.
I appreciate you, Tally. Let me go to let's go to Truth. Truth. Break it down.
Can I just ask Tally a quick question, though, real quick, Nelson? Just a super quick, like really quick question.
Real quick. Let's do it.
Has Tally listened to Firas, who's in this space, I believe? Because he's from the West Bank, and for you to say everyone in the West Bank is uneducated.
What happened? Did we lose it?
You cut out on my end at the end, but yes, I've heard Firas speak. I also know more people than Firas in the West Bank. I certainly didn't say that everyone in the West Bank is uneducated. I said that we have a very real problem of anti-Semitic indoctrination in UN, in UNRWA-run schools, within the West Bank and within the Gaza Strip. These are facts. It's also true, obviously. I mean, you kind of can't have it both ways. Obviously, the majority of Palestinians, especially when we're looking at Gaza, are living in poverty. They are not thriving. How can people both be so successful and so educated and yet be the victim of some slow-paced genocide, some urgent matter that the entire world needs to intervene in right now. You kind of can't have it both ways. I think Faraz is a smart individual. He sounds well-educated. I hope he was not indoctrinated with any anti-Semitic garbage at his school.
Man, you need to feed that goddamn dog, girl.
She wants me to walk her. She wants me to walk her. That's what it is.
Let me go to Truth.
Nelson, oh, can I go after Truth, please?
Yeah, for sure. Truth, let's go.
So the linchpin of the Palestinian issue is that there's one set of standards for Jews and there's one set of standards for non-Jew Palestinians. Here's the reality, folks. My father was born in Palestine, but today, any kid from Brooklyn, New York, has more
Don't tell me
rights to go
give
back
us the
to my
story
father's
again, bro.
Including Jaffa
father's.
with the C and the key, right?
Excuse me, Yehuda, it's my turn to speak. Could you
I'm
please?
just trying to remember.
And by the way, could you please mute your mic, Yehuda? Thank you.
I'm trying to remember the story.
Yehuda, could you please mute your mic, sir? Have some
All right, let's
respect.
go. One mic on him. One mic on him. Let's go. Talk about it.
Thank you, Nelson. Thank you. You know, as long as a Palestinian born in Palestine has less rights to return to his home than some kid from Brooklyn, New York, or from Russia, then there will never be peace on this land. The right of return of the Palestinians is undeniable, and it must be reinstated. There are approximately 10 million Palestinians in the diaspora, now 3 generations living
You
in
said
refugee
14
camps.
million yesterday.
There's more than that. There's more than 10 million, I said.
100 million?
More
How
than
many
10 million. Okay.
I want to
There's
know
more
the
than
number.
10 million.
Nelson.
Sir, could you please mute your mic and have some respect?
I'm trying to learn from you.
And
Yehuda, let's get one mic on this guy, bro. One mic on him.
Yes,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, Nelson. Thank you. So as long as there's one set of standards for Jews and one set of standards for non-Jews, there will never be peace. You know, why is it that 80% of the people that live in Gaza, which by the way was called Bank of Targets by Israel, that might be a nice lesson for Yehuda, in 1950, when they created the ghetto Gaza. And to this day, they continue to bomb them, bomb hospitals, with the excuse that they have tunnels underneath. They bomb schools, they bomb mosques, they even bomb the third oldest church in the world. So for those people that
1950.
the third oldest church in the world was bombed by Israel.
But you said 1950.
There was
the Garden of Targets?
Yehuda, pop to something, bro. God damn. Let him finish, bro.
All right.
The third oldest church.
Bro, Yehuda, I swear to God, bro. Like, what did this guy do to you, bro? Why is
he's making stuff
why is
up?
he
It's
triggering
like
you so
Lord
much?
of the Rings.
Yehuda, I got to be real with you, bro. It sounds like he took your girl in high school or something, bro. I mean, from the very moment he started talking, you started getting triggered. I mean,
Nelson,
silly.
Nelson, I think
everyone triggers him.
I think okay, or maybe it's because that church that he's talking about is still standing because it was never targeted.
We can get to it. There was speaking, guys. I mean, come on. This it's not your first rodeo in the show. Come on now. Truth, finish your bullshit, man. Let's go.
Look, the reality is that there's one set of standards for Jews, there's one set of standards for non-Jews, and that is the linchpin of the problem. It is not, how is it possible that somebody born in Palestine has less rights to go back to their original home than a kid born in Brooklyn, New York? That will never sit right with me. So that's all I have to say, folks. I wish everybody has a good night. It's pretty late at night here.
No, I'm next.
I've been waiting a long time to speak, and you know what? I really don't want to hear Yehuda speak. I actually want to thank you, Yehuda. You're literally the greatest asset for Palestine. You're literally the greatest asset for
I am.
Palestine.
You're welcome.
Thank you. You're an asset
You
to
and Sphinx
Palestinians.
can go
You make us
and
look so
marry
good.
off in an island and have fun. Okay, like, and why is Sphinx talking to me?
Can I
Who's
speak
Sphinx?
finally? Can I speak?
Wait, let's get Sphinx tonight. I'm going to my man.
I'm not talking to Yehuda. I just want to address.
Thank God.
So, I just want to say too. I think it was HK. I am not allied with any fucking person here, okay? I fight for the cause. And as you can see, a couple of men up here, not everybody, but a couple of men who quote unquote are on the same side, they do more to try to tear me down than the people who I literally call jihadis, which by the way, that's infotainment as well, okay? So I walk alone, period, full stop. Now, what I wanted to say is, so don't put me in a group with other people who talk nonsense and who are consistently racist. I'm not like that, and I don't agree with them. But I do agree with the cause. Now, what I wanted to say is this. I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce your name, Tuesday. Uh, I fully disagree with every single thing you said, okay? And I think it's important that people understand that you got a lot of sympathy, I think, when people heard you speak because of the way Yehuda interacted with you. Because it doesn't matter if you have Jewish people in your family. You have the right to have an opinion about this conflict. I'm not Jewish. You have the right to, you don't have to prove that you have family members that are Jewish. But the fact of the matter is, okay, the fact of the matter is, you can't, the audience needs to understand, okay, that doesn't mean that she is right on what she's talking about, on the facts, because you're not right. She's not right on what any of the things that was said. So you have to distinguish between a couple of things here, and then I'm gonna land it real quick. But when you have to distinguish between personalities, right? If you dislike a personality or how someone is being treated versus what they are saying, okay? So there are few people I actually dislike here, but a lot of the things that they say that are incorrect. There are a lot of people who I'm actually quite aligned with, who are extremely fucking rude. Okay, so I might call somebody a name for infotainment, and I'm not aligned with them one bit. But I'm not trying to backstab them or anything like that. And I will say that people need to respect the fact that they're not the hosts of this space. And Nelson is very, very gracious in not dropping people, because your ass would have been dropped.
Oh, today are you?
Straight to the goo. Anyways, guys, I just put a tweet up top, right? I want to know from you guys in here, and I'm probably going to do this every single night right before I land, maybe like 10, 20, 30 minutes before I land. I want to know who your favorite speaker was, right? Your favorite speaker in this space tonight, and the worst speaker in your opinion in this space tonight. Scroll all the way to the top of the space. If you're on Twitter, I need you to click that tweet, comment, drop your answers in there. I want to see exactly. Listen, I'm trying to see who's on the same page with me, who's on the same wavelength, right? So scroll all the way to the top of the space, guys. Hit that pinned tweet. Let me know who your favorite speaker is and the worst speaker from tonight's space. For you guys on Clubhouse, just drop it in the chat right now. Drop it in the chat right now. Favorite speaker, worst speaker, your favorite first. Drop it in the chat on Clubhouse. Let me read some of this. So we got Jerry. Wait, let me tell you guys what Clubhouse is saying. God damn it, calm down. Jerry Habiba Sadeh, best. Ann said best is Yehuda. Yvette said worst is Yehuda always. Mary Ann says best is Nelson. Sophie says Yehuda is the worst. Yo, Yehuda, you blowing in my Clubhouse group, bro. You blowing crazy.
You know what? The only thing I'll agree with,
dude.
The only thing.
Check this out. Wait. Let me keep going. Let me keep reading. Right. So we got Matt Cool. Matt Cool says Yehuda is the best. Sophie says Jerry's the best. Misha says best is Habiba. Malik says worst is Yehuda. AJ says fuck Yehuda. What the fuck? Odie says best is Yehuda. Laura says Yehuda sucks. Yo, Yehuda, bro, you going crazy. You're not even on that platform,
I'm not
man.
even on the platform. You know what? I'm going to have to download Poorhouse. That's the only thing I agree with Sphinx. The Clubhouse, except for all those good people.
We're the OGs.
Yeah, they
The
the OGs.
millionaires
That's a
are
fact.
followers. We are the fucking OGs.
That's a
and
fact.
Yehuda, you got diarrhea of the fucking mouth. That's all I
Thank
got.
you. Thank you, dear. Thank you.
God
I think
damn.
they all suck. They all suck. Every last one of them. I'm sick of them.
Holy shit.
What?
All right.
But I like you. All right.
Listen. Let me go to M.
No, you got to go to me. I mean, they just crapped all over me like a
Hold
dirty
on,
toilet.
Yehuda, please. I haven't spoken yet.
What about Afzal, bro? That
Nelson,
brother
I've got
been
a
waiting.
question for you, Nelson.
Okay.
Can
I've
I
got a
ask
question
you a
for
question,
you.
Nelson?
Wait one second, everybody. Let me get one mic real quick. Let me get one mic. HK, let me get your question. Let me go to Afzal and then to Yehuda.
Mine's really quick. I'm just trying to understand the politics of your space. And I just want to ask you directly, Nelson. It sounds to me, and prove me wrong, I've only listened to you the last couple of days. It sounds like you are, I would say, pro-Israeli. And from the time that you've been running this space... No. Hey, this is not an insult.
Let it finish.
Oh, my God. Guys, why is that an insult to be pro-Israeli? I don't understand. Anyway, Nelson, I'm just trying to understand from you hosting these spaces, have you learnt anything? Just because in the last couple of days that I've been here, it seems like your panel is more pro-Israeli. You maybe have a couple of pro-Palestinian voices, but have you actually learnt anything from hosting these spaces, or are you still 99% pro-Israeli?
I mean, listen, first of all, I'm not pro-Israeli. I'm not pro-Palestinian either. I'm just pro-common sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just pro-facts, right? I have nothing to do with the beef. You know what I'm saying? My parents are not Jewish. My parents are not Muslim. I have nothing to do with it. So, therefore, I represent neither side. I just stay in the middle, And, in regards to learning stuff, I mean, absolutely. Every day that we host these spaces, I'm learning something new. I mean, I was just telling Nico last night before we ended the space. He's a pro-Palestinian guy. He comes in here every single night. He said something very interesting to me before we ended the space. He was like, because prior to him talking, I've maintained that two-state solution stance, and I just brought him back up to the stage. That's been my stance, prior to him talking. And yesterday he was like, bro, like, let's really break this thing down. There can be a two-state solution because, I mean, Israel's not going to allow these guys to be able to militarize themselves. They're not going to be able to get a military. They're not going to be able to get an air force. They're not going to be able to have an airport. I mean, Israel is not going to let these guys just do whatever they please whenever they please. Therefore, a two-state solution makes no sense. So when he said that in the space last night before we ended up, I'm like, dude, you're actually making a lot of sense. That's actually true, right? I mean, Israel's definitely not going to let them get a goddamn military. I mean, why didn't I think of that before, right? So my point is, every single day, not just me, but we all learn something new in these spaces, despite the fact that we, have a lot of fun in here, right? It's not all serious 247. There's still a lot of good information being dropped from both sides, not just one side, both sides. And that's why I entertain having back and forth debates with both sides. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's been a hell of a ride. We've been doing this now for about a month and a half on Twitter. Prior to that, it's always been Clubhouse for like 3 years. So it's been really interesting getting to know a lot of you guys, getting to hear your perspectives. And, it's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. It's pretty exciting. I like the fact that you guys are loving the show because it keeps growing every single day. And, I look forward to rocking this motherfucker out with y'all for a much longer period of time, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it with me, man. I'm not pro-Israeli. I'm not pro-Palestinian. I enjoy both sides, and I'm pro-common sense.
Can I just say one thing? Oh, go ahead, HK.
Because of the panel, that's all.
Let me just say one thing.
Ladies, 1 second. 1 second. Yes, I was just answering her question. Let me go to Afzal real quick. Afzal, jump in, brother. You've been waiting for a long time, bro.
Yeah, thank you, Netson. Okay, your original question is one state or two state, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, yesterday when you took up this question, and remember I said that a lot of people will be getting pissed off on my stance. Obviously, the guy Truth who just spoke, he sent me one sentence DM yesterday, and he said, "Man, give me half of your country." Nelson, any of you may not know, except I guess M or maybe Brian, because he is professional of that line. I'm telling you, this conflict is a regional conflict. It's not between Palestinians and Israelis. In 1987, Israel had a plan with India to attack Pakistani nuclear installations, just like they did in 81 in Iraq. And Pakistan had to involve UN General Secretary. Ehud Barak is on record. He said that we had no such plan. US President, obviously, Donald Reagan. And that is how it was. This plan was, it was kind of cancelled by these two countries. And Saudi Arabian intelligence tipped off Pakistan intelligence that this was coming on such day and such time. Now, imagine why. Why my country would be attacked by a country, small country, far-flung area. I mean, nothing to do with that. Just because we are standing with Palestinian cause. Again, this one state, two state, it has to resolve, Nelson. There is no way of one state. Again, okay, Side, you said one thing. I would very respectfully, again, I'm going to add one more enemy today, maybe, or maybe more. Very respectfully, I would disagree with you on this notion that Zionism is racism. Zionism, anybody has the right to form a group to preserve their people and their interest based upon religion or race, because my country is created on the basis of religion. But there will be no Pakistan. Pakistan was the largest country in human history ever created and the largest Islamic country. Bangladesh is East Pakistan, which separated in 71. So I would not even have a country if it was not Islam as a religion, because that's the only notion we got the country. So they have the right to have a country based upon their ethnicity, race, or religion. Only thing is, our contention is they do not have the right to snatch Palestinian land or occupy them or oppress them. Or if UNO had implemented a mandate of the world community for creation of a new country called Israel, then they should have been given with fairness and equitable solution for them, for their homeland also. That is our bone of contention. That's why we fight for their rights on social media or activism, not to deny other party that they do not have the right to exist. That is absolutely not my understanding and not my stance. It has never been. And but people like me, Nelson, people like me, please hear me out. People like me, and I have met many people in 35 years in the US, blacks, whites, Pakistanis, Arabs, all. I really could not understand Tira's stance earlier. She's a very intelligent lady. She speaks very well, and I really admire her. But today she said something very, very low IQ. And I really protest on that too. That she said that
She's smarter than all of us.
By default, people just hate Jews. I do not hate Jews. But if anybody tells me that I hate Jews, I am saying I do not deserve 1 ounce of oxygen if I'm a hateful person to any human. I don't want to live that life. I ask God to take my life if I have to hate any human being on this planet. I am not that person. And that is the biggest, piss off thing for me if anybody puts this sort of. Tira, there are people, millions and millions of people there who do not hate Jews. Absolutely not. So when you invoke these kind of things, that is probably why recently on social media, it is now becoming fashionable that anti-Semitism label is being used erroneously. Maybe there could be legitimacy that if you invoke in such a erroneous manner, then you are not really serving your community and you are really, I think, bringing down this cause. And my request to you is please do not do, because I'm a 58-year-old man, and I'm telling you, I have no reason to hate any human, blacks, Jews, or anybody. I'm telling you, Tira, you would find it very, very funny. My first job application in United States as a student was, I checked black as my race in that employment form. And my manager erased that 3 times. And she started laughing and she said, why are you putting yourself black? And my answer was, because I associate myself with Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali Calais. That is how I view myself. That is how I want to.
All right, let's land the plane now. So
in my soul, I want to associate with them. So, Tira, please do not assume. And also, going back to the same thing, another
All right.
truth guy, there is a Nelson only two-state solution. That is it. And they do not have to have military. After World War II, Japan and Germany were not allowed by the international accords to have their own militaries for a very long time. And I think in a systematic manner, they were later on allowed or not. Tira may know what the legal situation was. There are countries they do not have their armies. And if this major conflict of the world, which can provoke a nuclear conflict in our region, and it can, which I gave you example of my country's 1987. It has solution, two-state solution. There is no other way out. Thank you.
I love
All right,
Afsal, but
guys,
please,
real quick,
we got to get a Jewish voice in here.
real quick, my brother, real
Tira was
quick, man.
mentioned. Tira.
Yeah, so I was just brought.
Boom, boom. There we go. You know what? I'll let Tara go next. Tara needs to jump in.
Yeah.
Tara, go
Okay.
ahead.
So what I was telling, first of all, that's interesting because you're essentially arguing for transgender rights when you're saying you felt black, so you wrote down black. Interesting. But forgetting that,
That's that's trans, not
no,
gender.
what I'm
That's trans
saying is he's
race.
saying he felt it, so he is, right? So that's
He
great.
also Terry. He also thinks he's
Congratulations.
Malcolm X. He also thinks he's
Right. I mean,
Malcolm.
that Rachel Dozemel, whatever, all those people. I mean, I think that's fascinating, but I honestly think that we shouldn't be doing that in terms of just deciding we feel like certain things. However, number one, when I spoke about that, what I was saying is in the US, when you have to fill out a census form, college application form, any sort of form asking for ethnicity, what it says is white is defined as people from Europe, Middle Easterners, and North Africans. So Israelis fall under that definition, as do Palestinians. Now, you can say, okay, the United States is wrong or whatever, but I really have been struggling to figure out how people are somehow making this definitional difference that Israelis are white and Palestinians are not. And so this is a white supremacist colonization. This bothers me because I can't figure it out intellectually. All right. I just don't understand that because it doesn't really make sense. If you look at the genetics, you will see that Israelis, Palestinians, Druze, etc., they share very common genetic codes. So to sort of say that to me makes no sense. Can I just say, I wanted to go back to the Habiba thing about the hospital, the Nasser hospital. So I went and looked that up because I think it's incredible to say that babies, are left to die and they're calcified or whatever. All I found was like 4 posts on Twitter showing this video, which is unsourced. One of the posts was from Abiba. So I guess I don't know if that's true or not, but since we've seen so many things on both sides that are not true, I would at least advise caution, right? And that's all I want to say. Thanks.
All right, come on. Can I jump in? Because
Ladies and
Sade,
gentlemen, it's about that time. It's about that time. It's about that time. I appreciate you guys rocking out with us. It is 12:30. I got to be in the office in like 7 hours. So we're about to land this thing right now. I definitely want to encourage you guys to go ahead, scroll all the way to the top of the stage. Make sure you're giving these guys some love. Follow the people that you resonate with. My man Yehuda with that bullshit. Afzal with that bullshit. Tier with the bullshit. Fucking everybody with the bullshit. Give them all some love. Give them a follow. They've been your source of entertainment for the night. So scroll up and definitely give them a follow, guys. And most importantly, guys, make sure you follow myself. Turn the notifications on. We do these every night. Nightly spaces, infotainment, fireworks. It's the 4th of July every night in this goddamn place. So make sure you keep coming back, keep supporting. And that being said, I think that's about it. I mean, Lev, I co-hosted your ass because Jonathan probably got a burger in his mouth and, is having diarrhea or some shit. So do you have any last words for the people, Lev?
Bro, it's been an amazing show, like always,
brother.
and much love. And till tomorrow.